Yes, people, how you doing? Welcome back to the Spurs Talk Show. I am Sean Butler. Bugsy Malone's out for walking. She's not with me this morning. But I'm here with Johnny H3232 from Twitter fame and Insta's talking Tottenham 1882. I hope he is a decent enough stand-in for the woof woof barky lot that Bugsy Malone can be. She's got her thoughts on Ange Postecoglou's post-match presser. We didn't get a chance to talk about it yesterday or the day before whenever we last did the stream. But I wanted to kind of chew that over first. We've also got your transfer news, views and clues for you all. There's lots of transfer news, views and clues percolating around the market today. Liverpool looking to make an early move on Frimpong to replace Trent Alexander-Arnold. Arsenal doing more bits and business. I mean, Johnny, let's start by asking you how you are, but it does look like the market's moving early, right?
All I want to say is, I'm on my way. I'm on my way to the Bilbao. I'm on my way. How do we get there? I don't know. How do we get there? I don't care. All I know is I'm on the way. Yeah, I've just got my tickets. I didn't sleep last night, stressed out, and it was pretty seamless. I had to enter 4 different codes. Had all my codes lined up. Do I go on my phone? Do I go on my iPad? Do I go on my laptop? In the end, all the stressing was for nothing. Very seamless.
Is it all digital? Is it all digitally in your app? Is it?
Well, you don't get So I had to book four tickets. So I've done that. Then each person then has to download the UEFA mobile app, ticket app. Oh. Then the tickets don't arrive apparently until 3 hours before the game.
Oh. That'll be nervous.
So then, okay, especially if you don't get a signal and they don't drop. And then you have to, then everyone has to be with me because I've got the access. Yeah, but I think you can then share them with the other members of your party if they download the app. Right.
I've got a really strange feeling that I'm going to get there and there's going to be a problem. I think my ticket's going to be, I don't know. We'll see what happens. But I don't want to tempt fate about it.
Just to give the heads up to anyone who's buying tickets, right? These are ever-changing QR codes, which Daniel Levy wants to introduce next season. So there's none of this screenshot business, right? As soon as you screenshot, it's done. Because what happened was in the Champions League final between Liverpool when they went mad and none of the Liverpool fans could get in. And they blamed the Liverpool fans. It wasn't the Liverpool fans. It was the system that was at fault. If you're on Twitter or on socials and you see someone who's won the tickets in the ballot, the UEFA ballot, there are lots of genuine people who won in the ballot. If you're going to buy those tickets, I suggest to you that you go and ask them for the full email trail, i.e., they would have the email to enter the ballot. Then they'll have an email saying you've been successful in the ballot. So don't just buy the ticket, right? Ask for the evidence because there will obviously be fakes. But you need the application email and the successful email notification that they get along with the ticket, and you'll be fine. But it's going to be big money, I'm afraid. Big money. I wish I'd gone for the cheaper seats.
Someone said to me DM'd me and said, "Are you interested in selling your package?" I went,
"What about the football?"
That'd be a role reversal. I went, for what? And they went, "Oh, if you can if your flights and your accommodation are transferable." I said, "I don't know if they are. I doubt it. But your ticket and all that stuff, one ticket, one room, close to Bilbao, direct flights and that in and out."
Did you say Juan's ticket or one ticket?
Did I say what?
Did you say Juan's ticket or one ticket?
Yeah. Juan Miguel, never going to get in. Never going to get Kinsky.
Juan has got one ticket.
Yeah, they reckon I could get $8,000 for all three. Yeah, and I was like, no, not interested, mate. No. Like you can spend $8,000 in a wild weekend in Vegas.
So people are offering to sell one of their kids to get into the stadium. So
madness. We got lots and lots to get through. We are going to do our weekly rundown of all things Ange just to get things going because there's something. Obviously, I don't feel quite as strongly about Ange as Johnny does, and I know Henry's going to join us. I think when he when he gets back from the gym.
Henry's lost his laptop. That's why he's not here at the
He's lost his dumbbell. He picked up the dumbbell to do some weights, and he's put it down and he can't find it. But we got a lot to talk about. But we got loads of transfer news, views, and clues, loads of updates about the club and all these sorts of things. So we're going to get through it. Just quickly say hello to the chat. Big up Aussie's Ange Hater. Good to see you, mate. Big up Adam Levitt alone. Big up Cave. Big up Adam. Big up Spurs Dyer. Big up Adrian. Good to see you, Steve. Lisa. Good to see you, mate. Hope you're okay. PH family. I hope you're all neutral. Good to see you. Luke THFC, good to see you. Good to see you, Keith. Boy from the lane.
Someone remember me. What was that about Johnny's Ange impression?
Oh, I'm here for my daily. I'm just here for my daily Ange impression. There it is. Yeah, yeah, mate. Well, I'll be hearing that in a second. Johnny for CEO of Tottenham says, Johnny, is that you, Johnny? Right in the back? Is that you doing yourself? No, not self pumping up some ideas there. Luke Price, Danny Reardon, Cambo, Lee Townsend. Good to see you all. Good to see you as well, John. Darren, Cantab, Alex.
How you doing?
Oh, good to see you all. Good to see you all. Good to see you all. Let's get in. So this is what I wanted to start with, mate. Like Ange's post-match. I hadn't seen it, right? But there was like a kind of scoff. This actually, the more I see this, the version of him I'm starting to get really irritated because he's gone from like the excuses that he's running out of to this almost like, I've got to be honest. As I say, I'm going to park all the hatred and stuff, all the animosity in my mind as we approach the final. But I'm still going to call it out when I hear it. The post-match presser, not the one that he gave to like Sky or BBC, but the one he did for Tottenham, for Spurs. I think it was either Spurs or it might have been BBC. And someone said, 20 games, 20 losses now. How do you reconcile that? And he just laughed. He went, look, he goes, I don't know how else to explain it, mate. If you can't see the correlation between, what we're doing on Thursdays and what we're doing in the weekend, I don't know what to tell you. If you can't see that, I don't know what to tell you. And I'm like, okay, that's no longer an excuse. That's now an explanation that's bordering on arrogant. Like, if you don't get it and you want to cause problems, do you, right? But that's just so indignant in, like, married up with just levels of...
He's arrogant, mate. He doesn't care.
It is arrogant, right? But here's what if we read in between the lines here, which is what we like to do, right? We like to infer things. If he's actually saying that 20 losses are irrelevant because we've got bigger fish to fry, and he's also now using that same thing around like we've got two systems to front, we've got to fight on two fronts. But what he's actually now saying is, read between the lines, he's saying that the rest of the squad, right? So those 8 players that were played yesterday, that, by the way, most of them were the mainstay in last season's team that finished 5th. And a lot of them were part of the team the year before with Conte that finished 4th. Oh, sorry, 7th, the year before that 4th. A lot of those players were there. What he's saying is that squad is not good enough to finish to do anything else than lose games.
It's disgusting. Listen, he's had 4 transfer windows, 4 to not only get his players in, but to get rid of all the players that he didn't want, right? Okay. And for him to say that is a disgrace. I mean, could you imagine Pochettino saying, well, hang on, do you remember 2019 when he did something like got to a Champions League final and finished 4th? How did he manage to do both, right? How did he manage to do that? I mean, how did they do it? How did Arsenal manage to finish 2nd and get to a semi-final? Right? How did Aston Villa manage to be where they are in the league, or some of the other teams? I mean, Nottingham Forest have not even had European football, and now they're falling off. I to say that. Oh well, I can't do. I don't want to listen to it, Sean. I can't actually listen to his pressers anymore because they're depressing, they're arrogant. It's like a siege mentality. He's probably saying to the players, "Yeah, mate, they're all after us, mate. They're all after us."
Yeah, that's what I said in the tweet. The us against the world thing, that shouldn't, like the fans and that shouldn't be in the world category, right? but you're not endearing anybody because we're not idiots. We're not like he's treating us, I get that the journalists are asking him the same question over and over again, but like maybe you'd get a different like reaction from them if you were a little bit more honest and a little bit more willing to accept the fact that it's unacceptable. He says it's unacceptable, and then he goes, "Yeah, but." It's a yeah, but mentality. I can hate yeah, buts. The only thing I hate more than a yeah, but is a yes and. Because yes and suggests you're in an echo chamber, right? If you're in a room and there's 10 people that all feel the same way, and the first person says his answer to a question, and the next person agrees with everything the previous guy said, but he needs to be unique or she needs to feel like they're going to add value, then they say all the same thing the last guy said, but then add some more. All that and this. Right, and then the next guy does the same thing. Next person does the same thing, and all you get to the end of the line, and the person who's got nothing less to say that hasn't already been said starts making up nonsense because they're trying to still add value. That's a horrendous echo chamber thing to be in. But when people say yeah, but it's dismissive. It's like I say, it's arrogant and it's in denial. It's indignant, and I think that this guy, to me, would do so much better if he just went, "I'm furious that with myself." That I can't find the words to motivate these guys who, by the way, I'm also furious with because I'm trying to show them that this is their opportunity. This is their performance. What's the word I'm looking for? This is their like audition, right? To prove to me that they need to be a part of the team on Thursday.
Worthy. Yeah, but
I just worthy?
He's
but you're part of that, Ange. If you can't find the words to motivate them, then I don't know what you're doing. And if they can't find it within themselves, then what are they doing? All that's fine and true. But if you come out and say, it's irrelevant, I've told you this 100 times, we can't do both, then that's really problematic, isn't it, Johnny? If that's true, that's terrifying.
This, I hate yeah, but, no, but, yeah, but. You remember Little Britain? The what's the name used to go, yeah, but, no, but.
Yeah.
Listen, I'd like to put side by side the video of this guy when he was 10 games unbeaten. All the presses he was doing, lapping it up, the jolly thing, taking all the plaudits, telling everyone how great he is, to now, this sort of head down, depressant, full of excuses, ready to switch and attack anybody that dares question him, right? I've got to tell you, I was listening to View from the Lane yesterday, and the guy said exactly what I was saying to you on the stream on Monday, exactly the same, where they said those players that played against Palace were players who do not feel part of Angie's team. They are almost ostracized. What Pochettino managed to do, he managed to make every single one of those players that didn't play every game very much part of the together. We're all in this together. All of us, all of you are a special part of this team, which is why Lucas Moura, when he brought on Lucas Moura that moment, he played like he was part of this team. Even though he wasn't starting, even though he never got to start most games, he was there ready to go. The body language of those players against Crystal Palace said, just like they were saying from the guys from The Athletic, was saying exactly what I was saying. It was the body language of saying, no matter what I do, no matter how I play, this guy is not going to pick me for this game. I ain't playing, right? And that is on him. That is on him, because you can tell. You can tell. I mean, I've never seen such an abject performance. I mean, we had a terrible performance against West Ham. Unfortunately, I had to endure that. But luckily for us, West Ham were as bad as we were. So, we didn't really notice it. But I just feel that should there be another injury, did you see one player who was out on that pitch who looked like, I'm going to prove to Ange that I need to be in that team? Not one.
Yeah, only one.
It's on him. And look back on Eze, right? But look at Ange, look at Poch, look at Poch's team and how he kept that squad together as a united squad. Whoever came out of the squad, whoever was out of the team, whoever came in, It was seamless because they were all in it together.
Do you remember that 2019-2020 season, the season of the Champions League, the 2018-29 season, right?
Well, we started to fall away.
Started to fall away, but we still finished fourth.
Correct.
I remember thinking about that. I think I had a chat about this with you, or it might have been on Sabba's show about a month ago. I was like, yeah, but just remember that season leading into the final, we were all having an absolute shit show of a season. Did we finish like 7th or 8th? And then whoever it was I was talking about, you went, no, we finished in the 4th that year. And I was like, oh, wait, we did. Because we played Bayern Munich the next season and lost 7-2. I was at that game thinking that Poch was asking for the sack. But like, that was the standards that were set, right? We finished 4th that year. We finished 2nd a couple of years earlier. 3rd the year after.
We're going mad. We finished 4th and we're in the final. Hang on, you bite the hand.
And I still felt like we were papering over the cracks with the Champions League final. Right?
Correct. And yet, I mean, this is a guy, hang on a second, this is a guy, not only did he get us 4th, not only did he get us Champions League final, but he didn't have any money to spend. He didn't have any money to spend for 500 days. This clown has had 4 transfer windows, over £300 million, and he's coming up with shit excuses why he's lost 20 league games. You can't do them both. You know, you can't do them both.
What does that mean? You can't do them both? Like, if he genuinely believes that, then he is not cut out for this level of football.
It's the worst excuse I've ever heard.
It's so bad, mate. Like he's like I've said it 1,000 times. He has run out of excuses. He talks out of both sides of his mouth, and now you're getting into the worlds of indignancy, and it's like it's terrifying. If I'm entirely honest, hearing what I hear now, seeing what I see, it doubles down on this. He's not even a good car salesman anymore, because once you've heard it a few times, you start to see through it. If Daniel Levy got puffed into the sales pitch, right, initially, then fair enough, because I think we all got sucked in a little bit by his words. He is a bit of a wordsmith, right? But if Daniel Levy isn't hearing that after this bad of a run and still hearing this excuse after excuse, explanation, justification, all that bollocks, if Daniel Levy hasn't made his mind up now, having heard what we've all heard, then I will, like, I don't think there's much in the wiggle room for my mind around Daniel Levy's decision making, because like I'm almost happy I'm hearing it, because I would hope that Daniel Levy is smart enough to still not be bamboozled by the bullshit.
I hear that they're not even
talking. Isn't it?
I hear they don't even talk, which wouldn't surprise me. But the thing is, look, you know, Tottenham watch these videos like our staff. They monitor the tweets. They want to see the mood of the fans. And, you know, it's one thing monitoring us, but to hear your manager talk like that to the fan base. I mean, you know, there was no apology for the fans that turned up to having to witness that stuff. What about the fans who traveled from Korea? I was with 2 guys who traveled from America. Oh, yeah, we came over from, you know, came over from America to watch that game. I can't remember, was it Seattle? I think
Jack and his mum.
No, somebody else.
Oh,
somebody else.
Well, Jack and his mum came over from Seattle for that.
Did they?
Oh, did you see poor Jack? This is Jack from the Irish Hotspur. Someone, a West Ham fan, took a picture of him. He was asleep in the underground.
Was that Jack? Was that Jack?
Yeah. He made its way to football away days on Twitter. Yeah.
I didn't realise that was him.
That was Jack. I didn't
realise. He looks
immortalised as a sleepy Tottenham fan.
He looks like he wouldn't say boo to a goose, Jack. Obviously,
he's a sweetheart of a guy. You know.
I mean, obviously that was it. But my point was, you know, so you had people who had saved up fortunes to come over to see their first game as fans from America or from Korea. Imagine you turn up excited. The atmosphere in the South Stand, I heard, was fantastic. Everyone was wearing white. The sun was shining. Everything was set up. And then they deliver that. And you hear the manager say, well, it is what it is. What do you expect?
Yeah, and this is where I'm at. That's why I don't want people to get my side of the kind of. I know Johnny's obviously very, very passionately Ange out, and that's absolutely fine. And like I say, I am getting that way. I have been Ange out for a long time, but I'm not as passionate.
I know Poch won nothing with the best squad in 30 years, mate. He never had 500 days. He didn't have a single penny to spend. Right? No manager in the history of football has ever gone through that. So, and
yeah. But he had a good squad to work with, though. Let's be honest. It wasn't like he was working with dog shit.
Yeah, but it was acquired. But Ange will outdo him. I mean, yes, so he'll win a cup, but he ain't going to be a better manager in my eyes. Sorry,
but as I say, better and most successful are two very different things.
Yeah.
I just wanted to share my thoughts on that and get Johnny's. It sounds like the chat obviously are 80% in agreement and 20% the people that are focusing on the bigger picture, which is absolutely fine, by the way. That's what we like. We like to encourage convivial and balanced takes in the chat. So shout out to you all, guys. Make sure you smash the like button if you haven't asked already. Have I? Smash the subscribe if you haven't already, and hit the notification bell. Also, get over to Johnny's socials. You can see them there under his name.
JJ's going to be popping onto my socials anytime soon.
That's okay. It's okay. It is what it is, mate. It is what you can't please.
You can only please some of the people some of the time, not all the people all the time.
100%. Guys, I'm on the march towards 30k, so forgive the subscription mode only on, but I'm trying to catch up. I really want to catch up on the last 10 months of absences.
Guys, if you're on Instagram right now, because I've done the link, if you're on Instagram and you've not subbed before, subscriptions, not anything, you're not paying for anything. It's just you get a notification when Sean goes live or I go live with Sean. I don't think we've linked with Football Link this time. We need. I don't think
our case is the subscriptions dropped, but we'll have to get back. We're going to do because there's so much content in the way out regarding Liverpool and Arsenal and all that stuff. We need to get over there and do some content, which I'm happy to do with you, Johnny, this afternoon or tomorrow. But I do want to move the conversation along, mate. The first story out today. In fact, actually. Sorry, this was on. This was a conversation that was happening at the end of Saba's stream earlier, and this is in any way, shape, or form disagreeing with Saba, because I actually agree with him for the large part. But he brought up a couple of these screenshots here, which we're going to go through, and his argument was, and I want to get your take, and I want to get the chat's take, because I do think that he said he's making his argument that facts are facts, they're stats, or stats are facts, and that context, but actually at the same time, stats are stats and they are facts, which is true. But he made this argument about stop with the injury thing because everyone's had injuries. And he used these things to back it up. And I just wanted, I put a couple of comments in, but, it kind of triggered me a little bit. So I wanted to bring them up. And he brought this up here, which is like the Premier League injury table. And it obviously goes into total injuries in 2024-25. So then, according to this, the notion that...
Hang on, where's Bournemouth? Because they had terrible injuries. Where's Bournemouth?
Obviously not on the front list, on the front line. But there you go, right? So, but this notion is that Arsenal have had more injuries than anybody else by 5 in the 24-25 season. And then when people in the comments, myself included, said, "Well, there's no context to that data." And to my point, it's who are the injured players? If one player that's a B team player goes out for a day with a runny nose, then that counts, and he's back the next day. That counts as one of those 27. Now, I'm not suggesting that Arsenal have all got just irrelevant injuries. Absolutely not the case. They have had some major injuries as well. But without that data, without the insight, and I think that when it comes to injuries, you have to factor in, which is difficult to quantify, but it's important to qualify, who were the players that were injured, how long were they out for, when were they injured, who else was injured at the same time, and more important than that, how many injured players were also playing in a position that had other injuries in very important similar positions, i.e. our back 4 or back 5, right? So have Arsenal had goalkeeper injuries this year? I don't think so. No. We've had 2 at the same time, right? So problematic.
We've had all our strikers out.
And our defence, obviously, if you look at our defence, the 20 times that the back 4 and the goalkeeper, the first team back 4 or goalkeeper have played at the same time, when they played at the same time, we've got a 75% win rate and only a 15% loss rate.
The difference is here, like if you lost Harry Kane, for example, you're Bayern Munich and you lost Harry Kane, or you list Kim, right, the centre back,
Min
you know,
Jae Kim.
Harry,
What's his name?
Kim Min Jae, isn't it?
Kim Min Jae. There you go.
Kim Min Jae, right?
I'm fluent on that Min.
I'm fluent in South Korean. You mean hack? I've been practicing.
That's what I've been going through.
I was going to say that losing Harry Kane, you can't. It's hard to replace a Harry Kane, whereas the Korean boy, right, has been replaced by Eric Von Dyer.
Don't forget the Von. Honour the Von. Won't somebody please honour the Von?
Eric Von Dyer. Do you know what? I got to tell you, right? Isn't it funny, right? He had to leave Tottenham under a coat after 400 games, right? He had to hide and leave the ground like almost in disgrace. He's had 18 months at Bayern. They gave him a massive send-off. They gave him presents. They gave him things, and he left like a hero. And the fans are going mad that he's even leaving.
Now he's off to
Monaco.
Now he's off to Monaco with his absolute smoke show of a missus.
Yeah,
to play blackjack for the rest of his life. You know, not a bad life for him. Never feel sorry for a footballer. Never feel sorry for a footballer, mate. They got and especially if they don't turn up, especially if they can't be bothered to lace their boots up on the day and think about the guys like Jacko who get snapped on the way home by a Hammers fan. Do
we treat legends? Because back in the day when I was a kid, right, and a player had been there for 10 years, they all got the testimonial, and all the fans turned up. You know, they had the Gary Mabbott testimonial, the Ozzy Ardiles testimonial. I list them all out. Nowadays, I mean, listen, whatever you think about Ben Davies, you know, he's been there for over 10 years and deserves a testimonial.
It's like you are usually balanced, except when you're with Johnny, your pimp. Oh, Dean, what are we doing here? I'm an independent thinker. I don't subscribe to Johnny's like the full Johnny 360 on Ange. I think that there is context, but I also do happen to land on the same vibe. But I didn't want to go.
Sean, he brought it up. Sean brought this up today, right?
Yeah.
Sean brought up. Sean started the whole thing. FYI, mate. FYI.
Exactly. It pissed me off. I hadn't seen that interview until last night. Now I've seen it. I was like, I've got 40 tabs to go through here with like various news, and I just wanted to bring it up because, you know, even someone I'm still allowed to land on a various area.
Sean for sale. If anyone would like to purchase Sean, please get in contact with me as his pimp. Right, he performs all sorts of services.
All sorts. Yeah, Sean and Helga versus Johnny the Pimp. There you go. Yeah. Nice. I got to be careful about this. Is getting a reputation. What was I going to say to you, mate? So the first story. Let's get on to the first story. Let's get on to the first story of the day.
Starting. Right? I don't want to influence you in any way, Sean.
You couldn't. You definitely couldn't.
God. He really knows us, doesn't he?
But I just want to. So this is what then when someone said in that chat with and again, this is not calling out Sabah at all because I actually land where he lands, but I do think that there is context to it. And he said that this is the context where he goes, well, you look at the players that were out, look at the points per game of the most players and stuff. And just again, and it does tell the story that he wants to tell, which is fine. But again, there is a level of. I think someone said a minute ago, the injuries don't matter, even when the injuries aren't relevant, because how do I get rid of that? Hang on a second. Even when we got our first team back and we were promised, like we were last year, you wait until Maddison gets back, you wait till Decky gets back, we'll get our thoughts. And at the end of the season was terrible. And this season we were promised when we get our first 11 back, we're going to do better. And we have done better in the Europa League, but the league has been horrendous. And that then goes back to the idea of context, right? So are we going to ascribe the reason why getting our players back hasn't been that beneficial or that much of a game changer because we lean into Ange's idea that we can't fight on both fronts? I don't think so. I think that the story is that the manager, he hasn't figured out a way to motivate his squad. As you said, Johnny, Poch was a master of making everyone feel valuable. Nuno wasn't. right? Nuno literally said we've got the A team and the B team. When we go into the Conference League, the A team are staying at home. Horrendous benchmarks, horrendous precedents to set. And then what happened in the, obviously there was COVID, but what happened in the Conference League happened, right? We got dumped out. And so, like, to me, I think all of this harks back to the story of the injuries thing is a little bit more grey than the black and white in which some people like to represent it.
Self-induced injuries as well, I must hasten to add, because Ange insists on the training replicating what goes on the pitch. So that's high intensity. And I've said this right from, I think, January 2024, where from what I've been told, that a lot of the injuries are going to occur because of the amount of effort that's going into the training. If you think about the amount of effort that these players have to do with the high line, the centre backs, with the countless recovery runs, coupled with the fact now that when you play a high line and the linesman is allowing the play to carry on, even though it's completely offside, they are going back.
Another 50 yards run 4 or 5 times a game.
Yeah. And it's not necessary. Yeah. It's not necessary.
Great point. Well made.
I'd like to see, while we've seen these automatic, VAR self-automated, I'd like to see a system introduced where it's automatic offside, so that they can tell, and the referee or the linesman, whoever it is, the second that they register that that's offside, because they can put the cameras in, the flag goes up. That will save defenders, strikers, wasting so much energy on those recovery runs. It's ridiculous, the amount of, and it's no wonder, I was told, it's no wonder that we're going to suffer terrible injuries. And that was in January 2024. And then we have, obviously, Jeff Scott having words with Ange Postecoglou come the summer, the guy who's been there for 20 years, saying to Ange that this isn't sustainable. And they fell out and Jeff Scott left. And we've seen the result of that. We've seen the result of our injuries piling up, and the situation getting far worse than it's ever been. I mean, to the point where instead of going to a top agency to look for the best medical team in the world or in Europe to come to the club, we're advertising it on LinkedIn. We're advertising,
you know what? And that's again another brilliant example of when I say, if you want to be valued at £3.75 billion, act like you're a £3.75 billion company. You wouldn't catch a FTSE 100 company advertising for jobs in a department that is so specialized and also so unbelievably important.
100%
on LinkedIn. You wouldn't do it. Like, you wouldn't catch Citigroup advertising on LinkedIn for a new chief financial officer. You wouldn't. No. You wouldn't catch Goldman Sachs do it. You wouldn't. Like, you know what I mean? Like, these companies, like, if they need a big time player to come into a big time division of their financial department, they're gonna go and get a headhunter.
We've outsourced. You see, we've outsourced a lot of our medical stuff, right? We've outsourced it, right? And what I would say is, if you look at a racehorse, I don't know if you're into racing. I'm not really into racing, but if you look at a racehorse, a thoroughbred flat horse that's worth millions of pounds, this horse is moleculed within an inch of its life. It has bathing pools. It has the finest equine,
like Kobe beef, like massaged every evening, like better life than I've had.
Equine, right? When we've got hundreds of millions of pounds, literally £400-500 million or more of stock sitting there, we should have the finest medical staff. 200 grand. If you can pay a player 150, 170 grand a week, you can pay a top medical guy to come and be full-time in your club and pay him 200, 300, 400 grand. You want the best.
There's absolutely no excuse for not because their ability to fine-tune, to repair, to recover, to be innovative, to be on the front edge, the leading edge of whatever technology is out. And that difference, when you're paying a player 150 grand a week, and they end up being out for an extra month because you've got sloppiness in the medical team, it pays for itself.
What's the point of having a guy on 50 grand a year, right? Who's, you need the best of the best. You need nutritionists, right? Not everyone needs the same nutrition. Some people's bodies naturally produce stuff.
Customized, yeah.
Everyone is different. Each player needs to have
customized medical
nutrition, customized medical. They need to be assessed on a regular basis. You should have a top team. Now I look at the fact that Spurs are looking to extend and expand their medical centre at Hotspur Way, because obviously it wasn't adequate enough, right? Well, we've seen that. But this is another point that's all part of having a professionally run team to get your players on the pitch. The best ability is availability.
And what's the second best ability?
Outkick a ball.
Unpredictability.
Unpredictability.
By now, we know it by now. We know the story by now. DJ AK, big up, Sean. Good to meet you on Sunday. Remind me of your name, my man. But if you were introduced to me as DJ AK, then I don't remember. But I did meet a lot of people on Sunday, and either way, it was good. I didn't meet anyone that wasn't awesome. So good to meet you too, my man. Good to meet you too. Let me know. Bounce back ability, says Phil Paint Stuff.
Bounce back ability.
That's number 3. How many abilities and in what exact order? Big up, Cave.
Responsibility. I'd like to see Ange have some responsibility and own up to the fact that it ain't good enough, right? And stop making excuses. He's taken Arteta's excuse book and he's added about 10 more pages.
Great to see you, Anthony, mate. I do remember meeting
you now.
Mate.
Yeah, let's look at some.
The transfer news is the start with a nice one, but here's a little intro for you, Johnny. You know, we've always said, like, how is it that YouTubers can kind of like, this is not something that I'm claiming for myself, but just generally across the space, and not just the YouTube content creators, but the people in the chat. How is it that we can figure out between the thousands of people that do it, where we're going wrong, where we're going right? I know you get the occasional comments saying, "Oh, you guys should all be managers. Look how great you are." All that nonsense, right? It's just opinions. But how is it that for the last God knows how long, everybody in the Tottenham community, every channel, every comment I see, there's no one that disagrees on this, and it's been for a long time, that Tottenham need a player like this, and this name is mentioned galore. Everyone goes after him, and all of a sudden, Sky Sports Lyle is now saying that Tottenham have joined the race for this particular player. It's almost like they watch. Mr. Mbeumo from Brentford. Tottenham are officially
2 years
feeling out whether we can sign Bryan Mbeumo from Brentford. I mean, he is a player that is a needle mover and a difference maker for what we need, right? Like on the right, on the left, he can play a bit of everywhere. He can play as a sort of false 9 if you want him to, but obviously better off on the right-hand side.
You say he's better than Brennan Johnson?
He's better than Brennan Johnson, yes. Officially, I'm going to put a line in the sand. I will take my hat off and say,
Jesus, you're putting your neck on the line there, Sean. Put your neck on the line.
On the line. Mbeumo is a player that I think everybody, and I'm talking about the channels that I frequent, the channels that I don't, everybody across Tottenham sphere and everybody in every chat that I've ever seen is universally in agreement. I don't think, is there anybody here right now, ones and zeros, would you like Mbeumo to come to Tottenham? Please don't. I don't want to see a single zero, but I'd love to see one if there was a genuine zero out there. Is Mbeumo a needle mover for Tottenham? And why has it taken this long? By the way, Johnny, not just for Tottenham to get on board it, but for everybody else in the Premier League. Because now all of a sudden there's 6 teams that are going after it.
Can I just say to you, right, 2 years ago, my mate who you know is in football, I said to him, I love Mbeumo, right? He says he's a brilliant player. All he needs to do is just to practice and focus on his finishing, because he gets in his positions, which is half the battle. He just needs to be a bit more composed in his finishing. And that's what he did. I'll tell you what, if we signed Bryan Mbeumo and we signed Eze, if we signed Bryan Mbeumo and Eze, our season straight away, get rid of the Deadwood, those two alone would make us absolutely lethal up front.
How much are both? So you reckon? I know you can't speak from a place of knowledge.
60 million and 60 million, 120 for the both.
You think Eze can really come for 60?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. See, for me, I would have thought he's, north of that. But if you're saying 60, I'll that's fine. We'll work with that. 60 for both. They're both prime, right? 27. I think Mbuemo's 27. I think.
Eze's 26. It'll be 27 in the summer.
Leadership, experience.
Goals out of nowhere. How many players do we have that just pick up the ball, bang, back of the net from outside the box? We have one, Pape Matar Sarr, and that's
9 out of 10 of those shots.
87 shots, right, for a conversion. Pro Z, or over there, or over there. But when
but at least he tries. He's a trier. God loves a trier.
Yeah, that's what I want. When we're playing horseshoe football and nothing's going, you just want someone fucking shoot.
Isn't Mbuemo the same problem with Kulu in the system, though? He's better at cutting.
Well, hopefully the manager's gone. The system would be irrelevant.
Yeah, but I take your point, Luke. I do take your point.
If Thomas Frank,
you could easily get. I know Mbuemo doesn't usually do it because they've got talent on the left hand side anyway, Brentford. But you could also ask. I think he's more than capable of doing it, being a touchline.
Look at Kevin Chardé. Let me tell you something. When they signed him, was told he's an absolute speedster, right? He's going to be deadly, but he was injured. But now Chardé can't stop scoring, But I think the pace. Look, I don't think if Thomas Frank came, I'm sure if Thomas Frank came, right, he'd love Eze and Mbuemo. Thomas Frank.
Who's that?
Thomas Frank.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
New names.
Yeah,
it's like Deji Spurs who always go, this is my club. It's my club.
It's Frank to the uninitiated.
Yeah, 100%. Dave, if you want to come on, mate, just say yes in the chat. I'll stick the link out for you. Love to get you on.
Well, Dave.
From the tonk, mate. I'm going to put this out there just for Dave. Please, nobody else jump in out of respect. I'm going to do an open forum show this week to talk about their final and stuff. But just for now,
Dave,
welcome. Huh?
We're in a final.
We're in a final, mate. We're in a final.
Anyone booked? I want to know how many people have provisionally looked at booking the Super Cup final in Udogie.
Oh, I looked at it. Yeah, I rubber-armed Henry into the ticket to Bodo on the stream with you guys.
Yeah.
And then after the stream, he went, what have I just done? And I went, well, if you're making one dodgy decision today, why don't you just double down and make a second one? Book your flights to Bilbao because we're going there. And he went, we're not going to get there. I said, yes, we are. He went, will we? I was like, we are, mate. I'm going to go and meet my Helga. And if that doesn't work, I'll go and meet my Senorita. I said, you got to be there, bro. I said, you can tops and tails with me. And he went, all right, then I'll book my flight.
He don't regret it now, does he? Like, he was ringing me up. I don't know what I've done. I said, look, I asked Sean, I said, I'm going to go. Sean says, I'm in. He's convinced you. You won't regret it. He doesn't regret it now.
He doesn't regret it. It was one of those days, mate. I'll never forget. I'll never forget.
I've ever been.
100%, mate. I'll never forget how much fun that was. From the moment we met up, the first high five, the first clink of that fucking Stella glass or whatever it was we were drinking. From that all the way through, Henry ordering what were they called? Some sort of dark and stormy bottle or whatever that cocktail was. We had them on the. It was just brilliant. The whole thing was brilliant. And then he goes, so after that phone call, he's then booked the flights to Bilbao. And then he comes back to me and goes, listen, I know you're Billy Big Bollocks, right? Like, you booked up your fucking Bilbao in January. You had the faith. And I was like, yeah. He goes, I know you twisted my arm. How about I twist your arm? I said, I'm open-minded to be twisted. What are we doing here? And he goes, Udogie? I mean, what about Udogie? And he goes, it could be Tottenham versus Arsenal in Udogie in the Super Cup. I was like,
he's asking me Tottenham Arsenal in Korea. Now,
Tottenham Arsenal in Korea, but it could have been also Tottenham Arsenal and Udogie in the Super Cup at the time, because obviously now Arsenal are out of the cup. But
should we have a moment of silence? Let's have a moment
about the Arsenal.
Let's have a moment of silence for the Arsenal.
But I was like, hey, about Henry. Can you imagine? Have you seen in Anchorman 2 when they do the Mexican standoff and there's like all the different news channels that are all having like a Mexican standoff? I was like, it's Tottenham ultras, Arsenal ultras, or by firms, whatever you want to call it. Then you've got Udinese. They'll look up for a ruck. You know that like Torino, Juve, Inter, all those boys are going to turn up. There'll be more knives than at a second-hand cutlery store. And the police will get involved as well. It would be, I was like, I don't know if I really want to be there for Udinese, but if we get there, we're going to get there. We're going to go. So just a harmless potato. Did you book your hotel in Udinese for the Super Cup? Not yet. Not yet. But I probably will because I am 100. I don't feel as confident about many things in life as I do about certain things in football. I backed myself on the Pedro Porro call 2024 January or 2023 January. I backed myself on the Paratici call. I backed myself on the Radu Dragusin deal. I said it's done. It's done. It's done. It's done. The only thing I probably got wrong was mucking around saying the Qatar thing is done. But Tottenham are going to be Europa Cup winners, mate. It's done. So I probably should be looking for my Udinese flights. Johnny, will you go to Udinese for the Super Cup?
I've got something on, right? The problem I have, my sister is coming over from Singapore, and
that's avoidable.
Yeah, so she's only in London for 2 days, and I think the thing's on the 13th of August.
Yeah.
So, and I'm in Scotland on the 10th and the 11th, which might mean that I'd have to fly from Glasgow. I'd have to get down to London on the next day.
Fly straight from Glasgow. It'd be cheaper.
I know. I want to get on the sports options. I'm in and out. I'm in and out. Listen, let me tell you something. We're either going to play PSG, absolute filth, right? Fans, absolute filth, or Inter Milan, right? Okay.
Trouble.
Shank.
There may be trouble ahead.
Moonlight, music, love and romance.
Well, listen, we'll part that conversation for now, mate. But so Brian and Buemo, is there any debate? Is that like obviously the debate is can we beat the competition? For what it's worth, the story suggests that Tottenham have been, according to Sky Sports Lyle Thomas, Tottenham have joined fellow Premier League powerhouses Liverpool, Newcastle, and United as clubs that are interested in the Brentford right
winger. Isn't it? Where would you rather go? Listen, if we win the Europa League, we're in the mix. But let's not kid ourselves. If we don't,
Well, my argument is, does Mbeumo want to go to Liverpool and play second fiddle to Salah? You're not going to get any minutes. You're going to get very few minutes, right? Unless you're going to recreate and play in a different role. You're going to get 20 minutes here and there, just when you're going to give the big boy, the hero, the rest, right? So
the problem we have, Sean, and we spoke about it on yesterday's show, and we spoke about it off air. Tottenham are in complete and utter limbo right now, unless behind the scenes the club right now know exactly who the manager is going to be come the opening of the summer transfer window, and we know for sure that Fabio is there. We cannot do any business whatsoever.
I hear you on that. But we're playing speculation here.
And we are going to lose first mover advantage. This guy, we should have known that Ange isn't going to be there for months. Right? I never expected him last April to last till Christmas. But if Ange is sacked or he walks or whatever, and we've got no plan in place, and it takes us 6, 7, 8 weeks to find a manager, we're in serious trouble yet again, because we would have lost first mover advantage in the transfer window. Right now, clubs have been manoeuvring, let me tell you, since the end of March. They've been manoeuvring for their summer transfer window. It's split into 2 transfer windows this year. We've got an early transfer window, which I think is 10 days for the to accommodate Chelsea and Manchester City for the World Club Cup, but it's open to all clubs, and many clubs will be looking to do early business to strike quickly. But we can't. We'll have our hands tied behind our back, unfortunately, if we don't know who the manager's going to be. And this is where I'm worried that we're going to see a lot of our prime targets leave for other clubs. And where with the, it's like
I'd be amazed though if Mbeumo deal was tied up earlier. I think that's a deal that's going to drag on a little bit because Brentford are going to play play teams off against each other. Do you forget? I hear what you're saying. I totally agree with you. By the way, that we are in limbo for sure until what happens next Tuesday. So it's another week, right? We have to wait till Wednesday. We have to wait a week. But you'd hope that everything else is sort of percolating in the background. Can you? If Paratici does come back, he doesn't have a huge track record of looking in the Premier League for his targets, right? He likes to go over towards where he's more familiar. But just on the argument of Mbeumo, let's give the story credit for the argument. Should we be up against those 4 teams, you can probably outperform you. Like if United don't qualify for if we beat them, then and they won't be able to do that much business before Wednesday either. And they also haven't got any money until they know if they get the Champions League. And they're also on the cusp of getting Cunha. So I'd almost kind of go, you can't do it all, United. You haven't got the money for everything. So
United, but they know Amorim. Look, the difference is, as you just said, who wouldn't want Matthias Cunha at their club? I know I would. Every time I watched him play, I watched him when we got hammered 4-2 by Wolves. Would
you rather Cunha off the left or would you rather Mbeumo off the right?
I think you could. Imagine Cunha, Eze, and Mbeumo. Listen, I know is it's not going to happen, but that's the level of player. When I went to the Wolves game, people were saying, why are you going to Wolves? We're going to get humped, right? And I was disappointed that Cunha never started, right? As soon as he came on, all I could watch was Cunha, how he picks up the ball and he just drifts into space. He's all over the place. Here's our Henry.
Lads. Did you lose your 10k dumbbell? How'd you get on?
No, I did my cardio, mate. I was on the Stairmaster. I felt like I was climbing up Everest, mate.
He's getting in training, guys. He'll be one of the fittest people in Bilbao.
Trying to be. Until I absolutely came 3 bottles of vodka in about the space of 3 days.
3 hours whilst you're waiting for yours truly to get off the plane. Henry, we're just talking about Bryan Mbeumo. Finally, like Sky Sports Lala said that Tottenham are interested in a player that every single fan of Tottenham in the YouTube space has been calling for 2 years. Finally, there's noise. And the argument is that Newcastle are in for him, Liverpool are in for him, United are in for him. And I'm saying United don't have the money to do everything. They haven't got the first mover advantage, like Johnny said, that we haven't got because we don't know where we're going to be in a week's time. We'll have to wait and see. They're also about to close on Cunha, so I can't see how they're going to be able to do both. So for the point of the argument, I'm going to chalk them off. I would make the argument that does Mbeumo want to come and play on the right second fiddle to Liverpool's superhero, Mo Salah? I would say there's a way that story can be spun to the agent that, do you really want to go there and be second fiddle? Do you want to come here and be a legend? And then also you've got Newcastle, which I think, fair enough, Newcastle might have...
I think that's where he's going to end up.
A bigger draw. But maybe he doesn't want to leave London. Maybe he's happy. Maybe his family's settled in London.
You're going to have Gordon on one side and Mbeumo on the other. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm confident, very confident, that Newcastle will go and pay the money because they haven't been able to spend big money because of their PSR levels. But 2 years out of the last 3, they will be in the Champions League. And I think they've got very good cover on the left-hand side with Barnes, who's been good this season, and Gordon. Murphy's been like a revelation this season.
Brilliant.
He's actually a contender for probably the best, other than Salah, probably the best right winger this season. But he's been very inconsistent the last 3 or 4 years. Bryan and Mbeumo, you look at that Brighton side. I don't know if what you've been...
Oh, here we go. Here we go. Henry's about to wax lyrical about another team that's finished above us.
Mate, I'd take out of their team. I'm taking Kevin.
Here we go.
I'm taking Kevin. Is it Sharda?
Sharda.
Yeah. I'm taking him in a heartbeat. I'm taking Johan Veach in a heartbeat. I'm taking Bryan and Mbeumo. And I'm taking their goalkeeper.
Henderson. Yeah.
No, I'm taking Flecken.
Oh, Flecken. Yeah, I like Flecken. He's in my fantasy team, Flecken.
Yeah, he's in my team and all.
Dutch
goalkeeper, 20.
What you said, Brighton?
Yeah, I meant Brentford, but yeah, that Brian
Both
Mbeumo is probably
being
going to have.
Sean.
Yeah, yeah, I should have known.
Plus, Ornstein said in February that Arsenal are a concrete option for him and they're happy to pay 50, 60 million. So if no Champions League club is interested, I mean, it's a step up. Brentford to us, bigger stadium, more money. And if we're in the Champions League next season, if we do win the Europa, it's going to be a shoot-off between us and Newcastle. But like, I don't know. I think we spoke about this on my show. It might have even been Sean's show last week. That next season you're going to have. I don't think it's a top 4 anymore. I think it's going to be like a top 8 because Forest will strengthen, Newcastle will strengthen, Villa are there or thereabouts, and then you've obviously got United. If they win the Europa, will strengthen. So, like, for us to actually get Brian Mbeumo over the line, we've either got to pay stupidly high wages. Like, I know we said it earlier in the chat. Cherky, mate, I will do some disgusting things to him.
He's the next name. Let's move the story forward to Cherky then. Tottenham are linked with him, as are Newcastle, as are the same teams, right? We're fishing in the same pond right now with all the big teams. So
yeah, this is the problem though.
Ex-Tottenham boy though, right? Ex-Tottenham boy.
The overall quality of players at the moment has dropped massively. Like the Big Six podcast talking about this last night. If you went back, because it's all systematic now and it's all like robotic football, there's only probably 2 elite passers in world football right now. Whereas if you went back 15 years ago, you'd have 25, 30.
You ain't calling Bruno Fernandes one of those, are you?
No, I think the only 2 elite passers to me in world football that can spray a ball 60 yards to feet 7 out of 10 times is Trent Alexander-Arnold and Kevin De Bruyne. They are the only 2 elite passers.
What about Harry Kane? Used to drop deep and spray a ball right the other side of the pitch.
Yeah, you could argue Harry Kane. Yeah. But like you're talking 3.
There's a lot more players that can do that, mate.
Yeah, but you look 15 years ago, you had Scholes, Gerrard, Pirlo, Schweinsteiger. Like the list was crazy. And like the list of wingers 10 years ago.
Hang on, what about Oliver Skip? You left out Oliver Skip. What about Oliver?
And Harry Winks.
Listen,
you know they're looking at moving him on, Leicester.
Yeah, I know. He can't even get in their team. Whoever, I would say they should have awarded a medal to the person who managed. Yeah, Tom Huddleston was unbelievable. Who managed to get 20+ million for Oliver Skip. I was just going to say, Henry, before you came on, the most important thing here is Spurs have got their hands tied at the moment because we don't know who our manager is going to be. And if he is going, if we don't have another manager in place, you cannot be buying players when you don't know who the manager is coming in and you don't know who your director of football is going to be. So unless it's all tied up behind the scenes.
Yeah, but you can still buy players. Like Brian Mbeumo fits in any system.
No, I know, but what I'm saying to you is I understand that, but it's much more difficult to sell the story to a player. So how do you sell your story to Brian Mbeumo? Hey, Brian, we want you to come to the club, but we don't know who our manager is going to be.
No, you can.
It's very difficult. It's much more difficult. I'm telling you, knowing how transfers work, managers speak to players, especially if there's multiple clubs.
There's no guarantee that even Amorim's going to be there right now. There's rumours that Mourinho is going back to United.
Nah, he'll start there next season.
Maybe, probably. I don't disagree, but there's rumours out today in some decent sources that Mourinho is going to go back. Did you see Mourinho's when he was asked he goes, the Turkish press guy said, Jose, you've played 31 games this season and you've had a different 11 in 30 games of the 31. How do you pick your team? He goes, it's easy. I have 26 coins. I throw them in the air. 11 that land on the table. They are the 11 that I pick.
I tell you what, I'd love to have Jose.
I love his. He wasn't right for Tottenham, but I love his.
I'd love him to manage this final for us, though. If we could have any manager.
How many of you would like Xavi? If you'd like Xavi, put one in the box for Xavi, or 2 for who's the 0 for who's the other one? Here we go, Xavi or Iriola.
Andoni Iriola.
Yeah, okay. One for Xavi, 0 for Iriola. Let's hear it in the chat.
-1 band.
JJJ said Henry a load of crap. Okay, let's look at Italy.
Oh,
how many elite passes have they got? You could maybe say Barea. Okay, maybe Barea.
1-1-1.
Spain have got
all Xavi. so far.
Pedri, maybe Frankie de Jong.
Yeah.
Right?
Oh.
Germany have got Kane.
But Ange should stay. Okay.
And there ain't an elite passer in France. So when I was saying about there is only a handful of elite passers, I mean, what are we doing here?
Yeah, I mean,
look,
listen,
it's fun.
there's more than 2 good passes of the ball in football, though, Henry. There's some wild.
Elite, I mean, it's top world class.
Yeah, but you said Bruno Fernandes was world class last time, so
no, yeah, he's world class player. He doesn't
he's
have
not a world class player. He's not.
He is a world class player.
He is the conductor for Man United.
Yeah,
If he
the team that's 16th in the Premier League.
Come on, let's be honest.
Like 12th, we had David Giannoli.
If Spurs fans woke up in the morning, tomorrow morning, and they heard that Bruno Fernandes has broke his big toe, right? Everyone would be dumping up and down, thinking it's
like we've won the cup.
Yeah, 100%. But can Fabio? If Fabio comes in, is he the guy to bring in a top manager? He's brought in Conte. He brought in Mourinho. Can he bring in? Is he going to be the one to bring in a Xavi or a Glasner? Do you think he can do it? Because without,
we're not getting. Iriola's not coming. Forget that.
Just quickly, Henry could not name a single player from most of the teams in Germany. What's that comment? Germany, France, and Spain, and Italy. Yeah, okay. So tell me an elite passer in France then. Oh, wait. Okay. Other than Harry Kane, and you could maybe argue Kimmich, tell me an elite passer in Germany. Oh, wait. And if anyone says Granit Xhaka, then what are we doing here? Tell me an elite passer in Italy. You could maybe argue Barella. Okay. Let's look at Germany other than Kane and Kimmich. There isn't one. Let's look at England right now. If Trent joins when he joins Real Madrid and De Bruyne, let's say leaves.
You know Pedro Porro has got more GA than Trent Alexander since he joined the club.
Yeah, that's crazy. But I'm
taking Yao Neves.
Not for me.
Well, it's PSG.
Florian Wirtz is not a world class. When I say world class passer of the ball, I mean,
do not tell me that Florian Wirtz is not world class. If you are saying that Bruno Fernandes is
not a world, what
are we doing here? Do not wind me up. Do not wind me up.
I'm not winding you up. Florian Wirtz is a world class footballer. He's not a world class.
Bruno Fernandes is not. He's not fit to lace the boots of Florian Wirtz. What are you talking about?
Mate, I think the disrespect you're putting on Bruno's name.
Yao Neves has got the most assists in the French league. But if you speak to the French league, if you go on to the French league type, their top passer and the one they call the elite man is Johan Gaston.
Who?
Right?
See? Exactly.
Who the fuck is Johan Gaston?
So what we've established is that there isn't a world class passer in France.
Well, I don't know.
Outside of Barcelona, when I'm saying world-class passer, I'm talking like Toni Kroos, Andrea Pirlo.
Gaston, right, is known for his breaking of the pass. But look, Yao Neves is the top passer League One, right? But that doesn't mean
you could have like Rodri 2 seasons ago was one of the best passers in the Premier League. He's still not a world-class passer. De Bruyne can spray it and cut a defence.
It's just unbelievable. And by the way,
Bruno Fernandes ain't doing that. But you can still be a world-class footballer and not do that. Harry Kane can get the ball on the turn, ping it 60 yards to feet to Heung Min Son.
Yeah.
Steven Gerrard would, Geezer wouldn't even need a sat-nav, mate. He will find you. He will.
By the way, De Zerbi being linked. Could you imagine De Zerbi? It'll be week 2, and there'll be a picture of De Zerbi with his hands around Levy's throat. No, that ain't gonna ever work. It's never gonna work.
He's not. De Zerbi's part of. Romano was speaking about on YouTube that there's
Valverde,
and they're really happy with his progress because he's got Champions League.
I think Valverde's not a bad pass of the ball, man. There's more than a couple of fucking. What are we doing?
No, I'm talking elite.
You're coming on dropping absolute nonsense, mate.
Okay, tell me an elite passer of the ball in the Premier League other than De Bruyne and Trent. Not good. Elite passer of the ball. There isn't one. Like I'm talking 60 yards, like Scholes, Pirlo, Lampard, Gerrard, Schweinsteiger, Those elite passes.
Those players play in the 8. You're talking about. You're giving 10s as an example.
I'm talking about Edison's or what? You make Edison's passes are a joke. Like 70 yards to feet. Like, and he does it consistently. You can maybe, but what I'm saying is, because it's all systematic now.
Have you seen Johnny Cardoso's got like a 90% long pass accuracy, mate?
Johnny Cardoso is a world-class passer.
I'm not saying he is, but I'm saying if the category you're looking to be fulfilled on is high passing accuracy, long in the middle of the game, then yeah.
No, but I'm talking. Can this Johnny Cardoso
world class with just the ability to get the ball where it needs to be?
But can he cut a defence in half of a pass? No, he can't. Whereas we've seen Trent and De Bruyne do it for years on years on years.
Pedro Porro, then.
He's doing it recently.
Oh, here we go.
The long ball over the top to Maddison. The long ball over the top to Maddison works like a treat.
What about Valverde? Valverde can split a pass.
Yeah, but that's not what he's... okay, you could argue him. You could argue Pedri, but what I'm saying is...
Pedri, 100%.
Yeah, what I'm saying is, 15 years ago, you could you could get a scroll and go...
Yeah, the game's different. The game's different, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. It's more systematic now. It's more tactics. It's more... I mean, how many times do you see a Tottenham player other than Sarr? We said this the other day, shoot from outside the box. You don't.
Yeah. I got a black eye in row 52 from
yeah. The boy ends up landing in the Emirates. That's how far wide he's getting.
Anyway, guys, we've been going for over an hour, and we've still got a lot. I've got like 30 tabs open. So, what are we saying? Are we saying Turkey? Are we saying we want Turkey?
Turkey, yes. Brian and Mbeumo, yes. And there's Eze, yes. There's no question. Those three, I'd take any of those three. I'd like to do a Mbeumo and Eze double, which would take us to another level. Let's hope we have the best scenario. We win the Europa League. We get a massive influx of money from the Champions League. We have 30 events at the stadium where we're absolutely flying income-wise. Daniel sells 10% of the club. In comes the money. Suddenly, we're signing proper players. That's my dream. Back to reality.
Do you think if we win the Europa League that Brian Mbeumo chooses us over Newcastle?
Well, I think he might prefer to stay in London. You know?
I think on the sales pitch of what teams in the better trajectory, Newcastle are, for sure.
But do you think
the same argument can make for Mark Gahey's? Gahey's also on the transfer list, news, views and clues today, by the way.
Listen, get him in, mate. Get him in. Mate, if we had a window, if we brought in Gahey, Brian Mbeumo, Jonathan David on a free, Angel Gomez on a free, we're winning the fucking lot, mate. Mate, honestly, that...
No, we need a 6. All we need is a 6. I would take a 6, Brian Mbeumo, Eze, Jonathan David. Thank you very much. Get rid of a couple of the players. Get rid of Richalison.
Romero goes for Gahey. That's a fantastic replacement. He's also homegrown.
How much are you paying for Mark Gahey?
Well,
Palace are going to sit there and they're a very good club at selling players.
Parish is a street fighter. Yeah, Parish won't let him go for anything less.
Yeah, but he's got a year left on his contract. What's the value? What's the reasonable valuation? I don't think he'll deal with Daniel Levy. I think Daniel Levy will offer him a packet of pork scratchings and a couple of beers.
I reckon you pay 40 million.
Yeah, you won't get him for 40 million.
Anything above that. But then again, if we get in the Champions League and he forces a move, like, you may get him for that.
Is the best case outcome here?
What happens if Palace win the FA Cup? They're in the Europa. That price for Gahey is going to go up to probably 60, 70 mil. The best scenario is Man City win the FA Cup, Tottenham win the Europa League, and he forces a move. Christian Romero will go to Atletico Madrid. Simeone will be sitting there with a bottle of baby oil ready to lube him up to run into a wall. We sell Romero for 60 mil. We buy Gahey for 40 mil. And you put the other 20 odd million on towards the Eze fund. Like Dean Huijsen. Dean Huijsen's got 23 clubs. 23 clubs after him.
Oh, mate. He's Dean Huijsen. I love Huijsen sauce, right? And Dean Huijsen is like left foot, right foot. He's going to be Spain's centre back for a long time.
I think he's got the potential to be the best centre back in the world.
Let me tell you that. You know what's quite funny? Typical it was Spurs that when we played them this season, the first game
he scored against us, didn't he?
Yeah. He came in as a late replacement for the injured Argentinian centre back they had. I keep forgetting his name now. He came in as a late replacement and he hasn't looked back since that day. Scored a header. He's a fantastic player. And he was only 19 at the time when he scored that goal. So, yeah. We listen, we need a major overhaul. We need a manager that can play expansive football, that's tactically astute, that's tactically flexible, that sets up his team dependent on the opposition, that looks at trying to negate their game while exploiting the weakness in their game. We don't have that manager, unfortunately. We have a manager that says, this is my game, this is my team, and this is how we're going to play. And that's it.
Who's I know you've got about 148 tabs open, Sean, but who's your if I was to say to you, we win the Europa League and you've got a budget of 130 million, 140 million pounds, right?
Yeah.
What would be like your scenario to bring in, say, 4 or 5 players?
I would go for
obviously realistic. Like, we're not going to go and get fucking Huijsen.
I think we need a 6, but I don't expect us to go and break the bank for it. Someone keeps dropping into the background. I don't know what you're doing, whoever it is, who's being a weirdo. Just fuck off. Don't know who you are. I would go for a number 6, and I don't know who that would be. I'm all right with Johnny Cardoso for what it's worth. I think Johnny Cardoso is a.
Would you rather spend money on him and go get Angel?
No. I just think realistically, mate, who is this? How do I ban this dickhead?
You rather go and get Gomez?
Is this JJ again?
No, it's just some geezer who keeps coming in saying twat, fat fucker.
All right.
It's probably that Mike Coxlong.
It's probably Daniel.
Yeah, exactly. I don't know who. He's in the.
Can I just say about Johnny Cardoso, right? I see the report. He's had a great game. Okay. So I quickly watched the highlights. He had a good game. So I thought, all right, next week, what I'll do is I'll tune in and I'll watch the game, or I'll try and watch as much of the game as I can. And I'll go there and he's MIA. And it's happened every single time I've tried to watch him. You know, he's very much.
You've also got, if Betis win the Conference League, Betis will obviously be in the Europa. So the price for Johnny Cardoso may go up, say, 10, 20%.
Not to us, it won't.
Well, maybe not to us, but if he has other clubs,
who's your ideal number 6?
I go and get Gomez on a free and play Berghvall next to him.
Which Gomez?
Angel Gomez.
Yeah, see, Angel Gomez, I see him as a 6, but he's a little. I personally think
for a 6.
It can be our Kante, mate. Kante was only 5'6".
Yeah, but like, you made the point the other day, Henry, that you said he's an 8/10 on transfer market. According to the data, he's played more in the advanced role. But what I think of him is a 6 from. I remember him from the Man United days when he went out when he went over to Lille, and I remember, and he's for England, right? He hasn't played in the fucking 10 for England. Yeah, according to transfer market, he's more advanced. I don't watch French football that much, but what I've seen of him, I think he's a decent player. He's handy, but I for fucking certain don't want a player who's been playing most of his time as a more advanced role. And if transfer market's right about that, and I will lean my they've got more data than I have, and I don't watch French football. Whenever I've seen him, I think he's a handy player, but it's uninspiring. And for sure, I don't want someone that's a jack of all trades. I want a master of one fucking position. Just sit in the back and protect the back four and just spray the passes when you have players that can sit on the touchline and just dominate on that wing and terrify defenses. And for me, there's a lot of 6s out there. For me, I'm going to counteract my own point here. But if it's true that Dougie Luiz is unhappy in Juve.
I'd rather
I know he's not a 6, right? I know he's an 8, but he's got all of the minerals to play a 6. And for
we
me,
had this argument 2 years ago.
Shut up, Henry, about your fucking Aston Villa.
And we had this same argument. Do you know what? That same window, we had an argument about Gahey and we had an argument about Douglas Luiz. And now we're talking about signing both. I tell you what, you give me Douglas Luiz, Gahey, Jonathan David to replace Richarlison, right? And you go out and you spend 60 million quid or something on a Cherky or an Eze. Someone just said Ruben Neves. You're going to have to pay him 400 grand a week. You spend 120 million quid on Eze's release clause, right? On Gahey, on Jonathan David and Douglas Luiz. You get Champions League next season. You get Champions League next season. You then get the additional money. Then you go out and buy 2 stars. Because that's what all the other teams do. You build the foundation and then you get the stars in.
The only trouble is, Henry, Angel Gomez, right, only played 730 minutes last season in France. 730. I'm not sure. And, you know, he's attacking. He's played more of attacking.
I'm sorry, but what are we doing?
I love you, Michael. I love you, Michael.
All right.
I'm not sure if we're saying the piss or not.
This season, let's just answer it just for the show. This season and the last 2 years, outside of the top 6, name a better centre back in the Premier League.
Name your better centre back outside in the Premier League.
Outside the big 6 clubs.
Who's the big
name
6? Sven Botman?
No.
Sven Botman's fucking
Newcastle
dynamite.
Newcastle want Gahey as well.
Not to compete with, not to be alongside Botman.
No, he'll be Fabian, whatever he's called. Who's the Swiss centre back they got? Is it Cher? Cher and Gahey? Mate, Dan Burn and Gahey's a fantastic partnership. Dan Burn's a shout. I'll give you Dan Burn's been very, very good. Murillo, good this season. Shit last season. Branthwaite, has anyone heard from him in the last year or so?
Dan Burn's a left back.
He plays centre back and no one beats him in the air. I can think of a couple of good songs.
What are we doing here? Let me
tell me about centre back.
That's what I'm saying. Hang on, wait a second. Graham Root, I've been meaning to call this out for the last hour and a bit, mate. Thank you very much for the membership, man. I hope you enjoy your time. I'm going to be doing some fan phoning shows very soon, mate. Appreciate you joining the crew. And also, little Blaine Devlin, big up Blaine. Good to see you, mate. Big up, lads. Do we honestly think that with all the question marks over future management and historic elongated time to bring in players, that this summer anything changes? Johnny, what's your take on that one, my man?
Do we honestly think that all the question marks over the future management, historic time brings in players? Look, I've said it before, Blaine and whoever else is asked, that we are hamstrung right now. We've got our hands behind our back until next Wednesday, when we have clarification. The board have remained silent. We've never once heard we're behind Ange. Ange is going. If Ange is going, we need to know next Wednesday or Thursday. A statement needs to be made. Thank you very much, Ange. He's on his way or he's staying. Because until that moment, we can't buy players. We can't sell players. We don't know what, because one man's meat is another man's poison. Because a manager might come in and say, you know what? See that player you want to get rid of? No, I want him. I don't want Kulu. I want Kulu staying. And he has to sell to Kulu why he wants him to stay. I want you to be my 10 or whatever. I'm just using him as an example. Or he might come in and say, you know what? That Brennan Johnson, not for me. Sell him. I want to get all the money.
What do you reckon Brennan Johnson's market value would be based off this season?
30 mil.
No way we sell him for 30 mil.
25.
I reckon in this market, he's actually scored a lot of goals this season, hasn't he?
I know, but listen, like if you take away the goals, he has to play football as well. We paid well over the odds. Look, okay, I'll be fair. Brentford were willing to pay
4 goal contributions this season in 48 games.
Brentford were willing to pay 35 million, right? And Forest accepted it, okay? But Spurs had to come in and pay 47 million because Ange wanted it. So I would take the 20 million to 30 million that we'd get for him, right? And use that money to buy Brian and Mbeumo.
Let me ask you this, Johnny. Staying with you. Thank you very much for the super chat, Blaine. Appreciate you, mate. As always, Blaine, you're a fucking legend. Love you, buddy. Hope you're okay. Reach out, man. We'll get you on the stream this week.
Big up to Patrick as well. Can you just read that comment from Patrick?
Is that Patrick Tyrant?
No, it's just another Patrick. 223.
223.
That's not a burner account from me either, by the way.
What's he say? Henry talks.
Henry is great to have on the show. Quality views and always brings the best. For fuck's sake, Sean faces. Come on, Pat, mate. Big up to you, son.
We have a lot of fun here. By the way, guys, there's 580 people here or something like that, or there has been. Smash the like, smash the subscribe, hit the notification bell. Get yourself over to Henry Talks Bollocks right down below, Henry Talk Football, and also make sure...
Absolute bollocks, absolute bollocks.
Just sorry to quickly interrupt. Did you guys hear about Rodrigo at Real Madrid refusing to come on off the bench in the El Clasico?
Can we bring him in? Can we bring him in? Would he come to Tottenham?
Listen, listen.
Stop it! When you say something like listen, I'm tuning out.
I'm not exaggerating here. I would get rid of if you said we can bring somehow, some way, we bring Romero in. You take your pick of any two players you want to go the other way. I don't care if it's both Van der Ven and Romero. I'm bringing him in. But I don't care, mate. You know, he's destined for Liverpool. Play on that left wing. Diaz goes.
Yeah, he's not coming to Tottenham anyway. He's not going to go. He's just a story of Tottenham. Also, by the way, get over to if you're into the socials. Johnny3232 is blowing up on Twitter. He's a man who puts up his phone and he records everything he sees, and then the best bits get shared on Twitter. So if you want to see game day action footage, live streams from the away sections in Bodo, then Johnny 8 is where you can find it. And on Insta's Talking Tottenham 882, and also on TikTok, that is where you can dial into Johnny's access, so we call it, to the real time stuff within Tottenham. So make sure you get over there as well, and you can find Johnny and me on Football Inc. We'll be doing more and more on that channel as well, very very soon. The summer's going to be mind blowingly busy. Listen, Rodrigo's not coming to Tottenham, but one player that might be, or might not be, is a player we already have, Johnny, a player that we've already played the ones and zeros game. Let's just ram it down Johnny's throat here. Ones and zeros, guys. Manor Solomon. Do you want to see Manor Solomon come back to Tottenham? One, if you do.
Hang on, 1 minute. Two, I just want to change the caveat there. Sell him, or bring him back for pre-season training.
Okay.
So is it one for sell him?
No, you just write in one or sell. You can. We don't do the ones and zeros.
One is sell, and there's a pre-season assessment, because I think that
assessment. Yeah.
He needs to, in my opinion, come back in the summer and be assessed after all his goals and assists for Leeds this season. And he broke
the story is, according to Shlomi Ben Ezra, who represents SBE, who represents the Israeli international, for whom Spurs reportedly could demand up to 20 million. Sky Switzerland claims Solomon's entourage have confirmed an inquiry from Marseille, who they state have given the green light to such a move. So the story, there you go, guys, 20 million quid, or 20 million euros, 17 million quid for Solomon. Would you take that now, given our potential predicaments with cash?
I'll buy anything for 17 million, Sean. And let me tell you something, he ain't going to Marseille, because why isn't he not going to Marseille? Shall I give you a clue? Marseille is what sort of town?
Good point.
Okay. I'll leave it there.
Good point. But 17. Well, if that's the benchmark, you're right. He might not want to go there. Fair enough. It's actually a really good point. Actually,
what can you buy? But what can you buy for 17 million? We're going to sell him for 17 million, who's producing all these goals and assists, and we spend 35 million on Wilson Odobert. Explain.
Well, I think Wilson Odobert's got a bigger ceiling, but what I would say is, the £20 million you can't buy much with, but what you can do is put it together with a few other sales. If you were to sell Richie, just out of curiosity, boys, are we all in agreement that Richie can go this summer? I know Johnny is your boy, but are we all in agreement on Richie?
By the way, just on that Solomon, if you said to me we can get 17 million euros, I will pay for wherever he's going, whatever plane ticket he needs. Without a shadow of a doubt.
You watch. I'm telling you, watch this.
Leeds will sign him.
You will see Solomon continue to score goals wherever he goes. Okay.
He's not going to make Leeds are going to come up in the Championship. Leeds are going to go down again. He's not going to get the opportunities in the Premier League.
We got strikers that do not. We got wingers that don't take on players. Solomon.
How many goals would Brennan Johnson score if he was playing against Stockport County every year?
Johnson scores 25 goals in the Championship.
Stockport County, mate. He's in League One.
Yeah, but they're about to come up, aren't they? When they beat Leighton Orient.
League One. Let's keep it real. Let's keep it focused. Sean.
If he signs for Wrexham, Brennan Johnson.
Does Brennan Johnson score more or less goals than Manuel Solomon in the Championship?
He broke Leeds' record, mate. I'm just sticking to the facts. Okay? Just sticking to the facts.
Yeah, how many goals did he get in the Championship?
Just sticking to the facts.
Facts need context.
No, well, I'm just
he
sticking
got 10 goals and 12 assists in 39 games playing for Leeds. And majority of the opposition he's playing up against have got like Plymouth or goal. Brennan Johnson scored 6 goals against Plymouth.
He said is your loyalty towards Solomon slightly because
I was happy. No, I was happy we signed him on a free, right? And Fabio signed him on a free, and people are knocking it. I don't get it, right? He signed him on a free transfer. He had a 71% success, the highest in their club's history, right?
Yeah, in the Championship, they mate. The three
yes,
teams
hang on,
go down.
Jared Bowen, Jack Grealish, okay, Ollie Watkins. I've heard
and all of these players are far superior to Manuel Solomon.
Yeah, but hang on a second. Right, hang on a second, right? Spurs turned their nose up at 3/4 of them. Spurs wouldn't. I happen to know that Spurs wouldn't pay the money for Ollie Watkins. He was in the Championship. Spurs wouldn't pay the money for Jared Bowen in the Championship, playing for Hull. Not good enough for Spurs. I've heard it all before. I'm not saying he's world class, mate. I'm just saying there's a certain amount of snobbery about looking down on the Championship. The level in the Championship is probably better than League One in France and better than fucking Scotland.
No, it's not. No, it's not.
I believe it is.
No chance. Listen,
that's why PSG are 20 points clear half the time.
Yeah, but hold on. If Manuel Solomon comes up with Leeds and stays with Leeds, which I'm more than happy to happen, Leeds United will not be at the top end of the Premier League next season. They'll be at the bottom end, like every other team that gets promoted is. So they won't
get 10 Premier League goals.
No, all I'm saying to you is, guys, to say he's absolute dog shit is ridiculous, right?
He's good enough for Tottenham. Is he going to take us? Is he going to take us? No, you are saying that, Johnny. You are saying that.
No, man. Listen, we have signed fucking players. We have spunked more money up against the wall about so-called great players. And I'm still waiting for it to happen. People are getting out there. 50 million for Tell. The guy's got talent. He's unbelievable. Right? 50
He's better than Manuel Solomon.
Yeah, but show me it. 28 fucking games in Germany and in here. And he scored 1 penalty, 1 tap-in, a ball to hit him. Right?
And a lovely threaded through ball towards Odegaard last week against West Ham, by the way.
I'm not saying he's terrible. I'm not saying he's bad. I ain't spending. Okay, Henry, 50 million on him or 60 million on Brian Mbeumo?
Oh, listen.
Or Eze. Or Eze.
Every day of the week, but I'm not taking Stacey Solomon. No chance. I mean, she can fucking suck a golf ball for a hose pipe. You know what I mean? But I'm not. There's absolutely no way. There is no way that I am having Manuel Solomon. He won't score 10 goals for Leeds in the Premier League next season.
Squad game, mate. Squad game.
100%.
It is a squad game, but I'd rather
sell a 10 all day long. I don't even know if Leeds will score 10 goals next season.
What you're saying is, what happened? So hang on a second. So you wouldn't even bring him back for pre-season? He's not going to come.
If Leeds say, right, we'll pay you 20 million quid right now, take it.
Especially, just to add on to that one, right? Hang on, Johnny. Are we not? You've mentioned yourself. We're in the business here of being maybe like left behind behind the 8 ball because of our nuances of our environment versus other teams that are making things happen early. If Leeds were to pick up the phone tomorrow and say 20 million, take it or leave it, are you really going to say, no, let's wait and see how he does in Korea?
No, they'll take it. What I'm saying
Would
is...
you take it? Would you take it?
Yeah, I'll take it. But what I'm saying to you is that when Spurs go into the Championship and buy a player that's performing, right, we ain't paying 20 million for him, right?
No, we did it with Archie Gray instead.
Yeah, we pay 40 fucking million or 35 million, right? And this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm trying to get at here. We are clueless in the transfer market. We are clueless.
Well, that's a different conversation. To
we paid 35 million for Wilson Odegaard, who went down with Burnley,
and has done nothing in the Spurs shirt.
Yeah, come on, let's be real. Let's call a spade a
But
spade.
if your argument is because we fucked up with Odegaard, we should fuck up with Solomon, it's not a strong argument.
No, I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying, if Odegaard is worth 35 million and has produced not much, and Solomon, who's produced in the Championship. Listen, Odegaard never produced 12 goals and 10 assists for Burnley, did he? In the season we paid £35 million for after he went down. What did he score? Have a look. I don't know. I'm guessing. What did he score? We paid 35 million for him. And this is what I'm trying to say. I'm not saying...
I liked what I saw from Odegaard in the Burnley team last season, though. I also liked Kolioshi.
We shouldn't be spending 40 million quid on him.
Correct.
You keep rounding this number up, Johnny Henry, to make it look worse.
How much did we spend on him, Johnny?
35 mil, I think it was.
Okay. So we shouldn't have spent 35 mil on him, considering Brentford got... How much did Brentford get Vicario and Bremo for?
Yeah, and look how much they played for Sade.
Yeah, I don't think we did. I
Smooth operator.
I don't think we paid anything.
Let me have a look on transfer market.
25 million? Okay, 25 million.
Oh, that's a big difference, though. A big difference. We've gone from 40 to 25. That's a.
I didn't say 40.
That's being manipulated by
Henry
Martin.
Henry listens to you, Johnny, and then whatever you
I
say,
never said 40 million. Hang on. I never said
hang on. Let me get the actual fact from transfer market.
Is 25.
We spent 25 mil.
Come on, now we're
still though. I bet you Brentford got either Visa, Sade, or Brian and Buemo for cheap.
I'll have a look.
Yeah, but that's a different conversation, isn't it? Now we're talking about valuation rather than quality.
Brian and Buemo signed for Brentford for where's his fucking...
The argument has suddenly halved in value, hasn't it? Spotlight on Spurs. Good to see
we paid 29 million euros for
Henry
Brentford in 2019 paid €3.5 million, rising to €6.5 million for Brian and Buemo.
That's what they're good at, though.
We could sign him. They could sign him fucking 6 times the amount we paid for Udogie.
Everyone. You know what? I actually want to fucking do a documentary, like a video, about the story between Matt Benham at Brentford, and Bloom at Brighton, because Brighton get all the credit. Brighton get all the credit from their Star Lizard thing.
Well,
Brentford don't get the same amount of credit for their ability, but they've actually sourced some fucking value in what they.
My mate told me, Kevin Sade, he said they've signed this Sade. He's a real handful. He's super, super quick. He's going to score goals. He's going to be a real player for them. And like, he got injured at the beginning, and he's now turning up, showing. They've had a lot of injuries in their defence this season.
Just quickly, guys. For all 3 of those players, what did Brentford pay?
I don't know. What was Wissa?
12.
Wissa was, when you include the add-ons, was €10 million.
Fucking outrageous.
When you include the add-ons for Brian and Buemo, it was €6.5 million.
Sade was a big signing for them. How much was it?
When you include the add-ons for Kevin Sade from Freiburg, it was €25 million.
Is that what?
Include all of the add-ons?
Yeah.
Right. €40 million for all 3 of those.
Sade was their most expensive.
I don't care how you say that. It's fantastic business.
What was Sade? €25 million, wasn't he?
Yeah. So he got loaned to Brentford.
Yeah.
The 22-23 season, and then they made the permanent signing on 23-24 for €25 million. That's including the add-ons. I mean, how he's got 11 goals this season and 2 assists in 36 games. Him, Brian and Buemo, and Visa.
Oh yeah, the boring. Hang on a second. We
40
would
Premier League goals.
Hang on. Can I also say one thing? We would never want Thomas Frank. He plays boring football.
Well,
Have you seen how many goals?
In order to progress the conversation, and it's a lovely little segue here. Richard Keys has come out and said that he's heard, and I did a video referencing Richard Keys hearing things a little while ago and manipulated it like a beast, like I do. Richard Keys has said, you want to grab hold of that, mate. He also said that
you sent me the link to that.
Richard Keys has also said that he's heard that Paratici has recommended the Zerbi and Thomas Frank on his list.
Frank is 100%. Thomas Frank is 100% has been spoken to. Right, that's not.
Would you take the Zerbi? I know we spoke about it with that.
I take Frank. No. De Zerbi's like a fucking lie.
Zerbi's like Ange.
No, De Zerbi is like Conte. Is like Conte.
He's a mixture between Conte and Ange. It's so attacking, but he's so aggressive.
He's going to end
he's on that touchline. He'll beat one of the coaches up.
No. He'll get banned. He'll get sent to the thing.
More red cards than Romero.
Yeah, he'll have money.
The three managers I think we should go for is Thomas Frank, Andoni Iraola, or Xavi. Xavi won't come.
I agree.
I think Xavi will go to Bayer Leverkusen and replace Xabi Alonso.
Those are the three I'd go for as well.
That Bayer Leverkusen squad's going to get absolutely disintegrated.
Already
Jonathan Tah leaving. Frimpong's in advanced talks with Liverpool.
Can we buy Hincapié, please?
Oh,
what a player he is on the left-hand side.
That's a replacement for Romero. Can also play left back as well.
Right, left back, left centre back. Hincapié has been on my list since he played for Ecuador in the last World Cup.
Who's that guy that me and Sean did a video last summer about a guy who joined. He joined someone, and we were talking about him like he was at his old club. He was a midfielder, Dutch midfielder who can also play right back.
Oh, Geerstruder.
Geerstruder.
Is that him?
Yeah, Geerstruder.
He's at Leipzig.
He's at Leipzig now.
Hey.
What a player.
Didn't they sign him for cheap as well?
Season, did he, Johnny?
Yeah, he went to Sean and I love Geerstruder, right? What a player he is. He can play as a 6, a right back, or a right centre back.
He's also stepped up. He's fucking ta.
What about Milos Kerkez from Bournemouth?
He ain't coming to Tottenham.
Would you sell your doggy for him?
I'd sell Bugsy Malone for
21 years of age, going to be a left back in the Premier League, whoever he signs for, probably for the next decade.
Can I just tell you, you know who's heavily involved in all recruitment? Iraola.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look at that team he's built. That's another team I've got to talk about because I'm taking half of that Bournemouth team. I'm taking Semenyo.
What you're really trying to do is take half that Bournemouth.
We're going to need a holding pen for the amount of...
Mate, but look at that Bournemouth team this season. You're taking Semenyo, aren't you? You're taking Dean Huijsen. You're also taking Kerkez. You're probably going to take Kluivert, right?
Look at Evan Nielsen. Evan
Nielsen. Zabarini.
Oh, come off it. What are we doing here?
What are we doing here? You take Milos Kerkez or Dean Huijsen.
You would take half the team of every club above us in the league.
I would put no, I'm not going to say that. But I would do some disgusting things to have Milos Kerkez and Dean Huijsen in our back line.
Sean, I'm not being funny, mate. He's taken so many players, Henry, right? We're going to need a holding pen. Chelsea's 48 players they've got in
How
holding.
are we sitting here with like players like Bournemouth? It's heartbreaking.
I know.
It's heartbreaking that you could put a Palace and Bournemouth combined team and it'd probably get top 4.
But that's a sign of the strength of the Premier League. That's what I love to. I fucking love it. This is why I hark back to this notion. No, hang on a second. Every single like other channel that like leans the way they do with regards Levy, for example, that like they got their stake, they got their line in the sand, and I get it. By the way, I'm fine with it, whatever, as long as you can justify it and be consistent. But the amount of people that say top 4 isn't a trophy, bro, show me the trophy, and as soon as the trophy's in graspable location, suddenly it's, well, let's not fucking forget the Premier League, right? And I'm always like, well, that's what I've been saying for years. The top four is a barometer because you walk away. Someone like Johnny who goes home and away every single week. I go to as many away games as I can access.
He's not going to Villa Park, though, are you, Johnny?
No, he's not going to play. He can't handle it anymore.
Listen,
but to me, like this is this notion that the Premier League is like finishing fourth when you can't realistically finish first because it's just levels. It's pathetic because it's all about trophies, right? That's the line in the sand. A season with a trophy is success. A season without one is failure. Okay, speak to me when we finish 17th and we win a trophy. How long will you tolerate it? And everyone's moving their needle now. The goalposts have been moved. But for me, the Premier League is the fucking barometer of where you're at because people like Henry Wright would take half of every team that finished from 16th to fucking 6th. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just saying that's a justification of why
someone said I'm on mushrooms.
The Premier League.
What is it with Henry and his BS? Brentford, Bournemouth, Brighton. I never mentioned Brighton. Brentford and Bournemouth, yeah. Next, it'll be Basildon FC. I just like that comment there about...
How's Basildon doing?
But Basildon's a carsy, mate.
The
Spurs Digest. So out of these 8 or 9 players, I'm going to list Dean Huijsen, Kirkes, Evan Nilsson, Semenyo, Kluivert, Gahey, Meniz, Jean-Philippe, Eze, and let's say Mitoma from Brighton. You wouldn't take any of those players.
How many players from Fulham would you take?
I'd take Robinson as a. You could argue he starts over Udogie, and not many more. I'd take Smith. I'll tell you who I would have taken.
West Ham.
I'm taking Jared Bowen, and I'm taking Kudus. That's it.
Okay. This is the point I'm making is that
I'm not saying every team. I'm saying the teams
I'm not making this point to wind you up. Obviously, the winding up is a byproduct benefit of it, bit of fun. But generally speaking, the point I'm making is that you probably wouldn't have that same conversation if we were looking at the Europa League this year. If I asked you, name me any player from Karabakh, name me any player from Fenerbahce, from Galatasaray. There's maybe a couple here or there, but generally speaking, like the Premier League is a far fucking harder competition to win than the Europa League is, right? The Carabao Cup, given the fact that in order to win the Carabao Cup,
it's a lot harder to win.
It's so much harder to win the Carabao Cup than it is the Europa League. So much harder. So when people say that Daniel Levy's fucking failed for finishing 2nd, 3rd, or 4th for like 10 of the last 15 years, and he's an absolute disgrace,
you can also get very easy cut runs.
When people like Henry would take half of every other team that's below us 9 out of 10 seasons. Like it's the Premier League is the fucking barometer, and it's a fucking league filled with quality. So like dismissing it because
there needs to be context though, because when Man United won the League Cup, they played Notts County, Charlton, and fucking Newcastle was their running. So you're absolutely bang on the money about us. The Premier League's a lot harder, but we have gone out of the cups to teams like Colchester United, Dynamo Zagreb. Like we should never ever be losing to Dynamo Zagreb.
Can I ask you a question? Can I ask a question, guys?
Well, that's not on Levy, no.
Do you think there used to be a situation where you would have the World Cup, right? You'd have the World Cup, and there would be standout players who were unbelievable in the World Cup, and there was a mass clamour to sign these players. And yet when they were signed, they never reached the heights that they did in the World Cup when they came to their respective clubs. Do you think sometimes when we're analysing these players now, we're looking them in a micro window of one season, and we could therefore not all of them, but in some of them where a player's emerged, we don't know for sure whether he's going to replicate that in the next 3, 4, 5 seasons. This might be the pinnacle of their career, this one season. So you have to be careful sometimes when we're picking out some of these players.
Well, the best example of that is fucking Dom Solanke, right? Who, by the way, I do not subscribe to this notion that he's a shit player because he hasn't banged in the goals, because the entire summer before
world class.
but we haven't got any world class players right now. But world class is like top 3.
65 million, though. He's more money than what we're going to pay.
Doesn't get you world class, mate.
Well, hang on. It would get us from Buemo and it would get us Eze.
65. If I'll trust you on that because I know you know things that I don't know, or know people that know things that I don't know. But that's fine. I'm not sure if 65. If it does get you Eze, then yes. Like there's no fucking brainer. But for me,
Arsenal are about to get
65 million doesn't get you a fucking packet of eggs anymore. Like let alone a fucking world class player. We're talking about like top 3 positions in world football. To be in the world class category, I'm saying name me the best 3 left wingers in world football, and everybody else is not world class. They're in the tier beneath for me.
But there's still great. There's still great players. I mean, look, Arsenal are going to get Zubimendi, right, and they're going to link him with Merino, right, and we know that Merino and Zubimendi together were absolutely unbelievable. Together,
but Merino's been repositioned to a striker.
Yeah, no, but I'm saying when they were at their club,
I hear you. Yeah, one of the best double pivots in world football last season.
Yeah, they were fantastic, right? Okay, and Arsenal are playing this out. Okay, to play the long game with San Marino, and then we'll come back for Zubimendi, right? And that is going to be that Arsenal team. We can mock them now, but believe me, when they sign Zubimendi and they sign a Gyökeres or whoever they get,
Gyökeres and Nico Williams.
Yeah, we are honestly.
Nico Williams, by the way, he's pissed himself in both those that semi-final against.
He only played in one
good this season.
But it's the thing. Are we recency biasing again here?
That's what I'm saying. That's exactly my point. Do we get carried away with saying we've got to have this player, we've got to have that player? You know,
that's all you're doing, though, aren't you? Like nowadays, when you buy a player,
Jean-Philippe Mateta, your boy Jean-Philippe.
You're basing it off the potential from the recent buyers.
You're talking about Philippe Mateta like he's a world-class player.
Don't dare start disrespecting Jean-Philippe.
But what I'm saying is, had Glasner,
I'm just saying he's a one-season wonder.
Hang on, Oliver Glasner saw something in him that no one else. The managers who were looking after him. So he would have, Glasner, had he been at another club, he would have signed Mateta for peanuts because he couldn't hit a barn door, right? And turned him into a player. He sold Anderson and told the club, I want Lacroix from Wolfsburg, bought him in for 18 million, almost half what they sold him Anderson, and he's turned him into a better player than Anderson was. Yes, he doesn't pass the ball as well, but he's a solid player. So sometimes managers can see the value in a player of what they can do to them and how they can improve them. And I haven't seen him improve one player. Berghvall has naturally progressed himself, you know, as he's come to the fore. But can I ask you something? Can you believe Timo Werner is sat at home on 170 grand a week, eating schnitzel and sauerkraut? It's a disgrace. It's a disgrace. It really is. I can't believe he's getting away with it.
Would you take Jean-Philippe if we had Glasner, Sean? If Glasner was our manager coming in, and you've seen what he can score under him.
He bullied Danso, mate. Danso was bouncing off it.
I believe that Dominic Solanke is a better player than Jean-Philippe Mateta. Right? If you are using this season as your barometer of what is excellent, I would say he's been excellent this year, as was Dom Solanke the season before. So if you are going to use recency bias as your justification, then I would say, well, then look what you walk into. But the potential of being hang on. The potential of being mismanaged by a manager with Oliver Glasner, maybe, right? But the problem is Dominic Solanke is doing what is asked of him by a manager who wants the 9 to be a sacrificial lamb. If you have Ange Postecoglou next season, then Jean-Philippe Mateta would be asked to do exactly the same role. Is he going to do it as well? And my answer is probably no.
Are you confident?
If you have Oliver Glasner come in, does he reposition Solanke to do what Solanke is good at? And I would say probably yes. And I think then you've got a better player.
Even if we brought Glasner in, do you think our wingers are creative enough? Because in the system that Glasner plays at Palace, he's got players like Eze and players like Sarr that I think are a lot creative than our white players.
Sarr, what are we doing here, mate?
I don't.
You want Sarr to come in, mate. You're
I'll
just
take Sarr over Johnson. Yeah.
captain recency bias over here, bro. Captain recency.
Yeah, but you look at some of
Where
our
the
wingers,
fuck was
mate.
Ismail Sarr 2 years ago?
Oh, yeah, when he was at Watford, he was one of the most wanted players in the Premier League.
I'll do me a favour, mate. I put my neck on the line and said that Tottenham shouldn't sign Richarlison. We should go after, what was his name? He went to Nottingham Forest in the end. Someone in the chat remind me. Who did I back up? Who did I say that we should go after? He ended up being dog shit for Forest. Who was it? What was his name? Someone in the chat will let me know. There was a player who scored 12 goals in Watford's relegation season. And I'm just saying that, like...
I know who you mean. I know exactly who you mean.
No, it wasn't Hudson-Odoi.
I'd also take Callum Hudson. It was Emmanuel Dennis.
Emmanuel Dennis. Well done, Sam Jam. Good boy.
Would you take Callum Hudson-Odoi?
No.
Interesting. Would you take Murillo?
Who?
Murillo, their centre-back.
Yes, I'll take Murillo all day long.
Milinkovic, their other centre-back.
Yeah, I was asking for loads of Tottenham. I've said this before.
Okay, here's a question. Here's a question for you.
Hang on, Milinkovic is a perfect example again of Tottenham fans in the YouTube knowing that a player is going to be good before he gets from his Fiorentina in his case.
Didn't he?
Yeah, he came from Fiorentina, but loads of Tottenham fans were saying, get hold of him. Myself being one of them, Johnny being one of them, you being one of them. We spoke about him for ages. He ends up going to Forest and smashes it. Like, same with Mbeumo, right? Like, we've all been calling for, like, why is it taking this fucking long for a big team to recognise the value in these B team but quality players? And today, like, you know, Milinkovic is probably worth 40 million quid today.
I got a question for you, right? How many of the Nottingham Forest players are you taking?
Here we go.
Are you taking
Gibbs
Milinkovic,
White.
Murillo, Morgan Sniffs White? Right? Are you taking Sangara? Are you taking
Ibrahim Sangare? I fancied Ibrahim Sangare before he went to. I was
PSV, wasn't he?
Yeah, PSV. I'm having.
But Elanga.
Anthony, no. Doesn't suit our system, mate. No point. He's Brennan Johnson on steroids, isn't he? It's the same sort of bollocks. You need players. You need horses for courses. But yeah, Morgan Gibbs White's a good player. I like him. I think he's got a bit about him. He's not just a good player for a system.
Gibbs White.
I'd take Gibbs White, but I'd also think that there's a limit to his levels. He ain't going to be a world class player. So depends what we're looking for. But do I think he's equal to James Maddison but works harder? Yes, I do.
Would you take their right back, Aina, or Aina, however you pronounce it?
Free transfer?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll take him on a free transfer. We need a right back this summer. Let me ask you this though.
Matt Sells?
Huh?
Would you take Matt Sells? Third most amount of clean sheets in the Premier League this season.
Yeah, because of the system, mate. They park fucking.
That's irrelevant. I'm just saying about the player, mate.
It's not irrelevant. You put Vicario in that fucking system, and Vicario's a world-class goalkeeper. It's context, bro. It's context.
Would you take Chris Wood for a season?
No.
20 Premier League goals?
Don't care. I don't want. What are we level? What are we doing here? What are we doing here? What are we doing here?
No, you're absolutely right, mate. You're absolutely right.
The less said about the better. I'm just saying, there's horses for courses, and we have to like think about what it is we're trying to do, what we're trying to achieve. And for me, even Morgan Gibbs White, I'm like, is he really a leveler upper? Is he a needle mover? I don't. He's good. He's better. He might be better than Maddison because he works harder. But does he have the sort of the skill set that Maddison can invoke? I'd say no. And so he's a good player, but he ain't getting into the City team, is he? I know you're going to say City. You're looking at him. Yeah, they ain't. They ain't going to buy Morgan Gibbs White. So, like,
I think that's. I'll be honest. I like Gibbs White, but I think that's a massive.
I like him too, but he's a Newcastle level Tottenham player, Villa player. He's that sort of level.
They're also after Florian Wirtz. If they get Wirtz, again,
the player that you said a minute ago wasn't anywhere near as good as fucking Bruno Fernandes.
Hang on.
You said that Bruno Fernandes is a better player than Florian Wirtz. So that's what you said, right?
No, I said they're both world class players.
No, you didn't. No, you did not say that. No,
rewind it back.
I
I
fucking
said
will rewind it back.
that they. I said
Rewind it
that
back. Someone get the clip.
I said that neither of them are elite passers. However, they're both world class. But if you said to me right now, could Tottenham sign one or the other? I'm taking Verts. One, because he's younger, and two, his potential is higher. But you dismiss Bruno Fernandes as if to say he's not world class. His output is disgusting, mate. 38 GA this season.
Who?
Bruno Fernandes.
Yeah.
How many other players in the Premier League this season have got more GA in all comps?
He's a cunt, mate.
And he plays. There goes his monetization. He plays in a shockingly bad Man United team.
Drop a super
Rasmus
check, guys. Make
Højlund,
up for that 40 quid
Josh
down
Kirksey up front. Actually,
I'm
that
sorry.
might be bollocks, by the way.
Fernandes is not the player. Exactly, Phil Paint stuff. Fernandes is he's not the guy we want. He's not the guy we want. Let me ask you this, though. Do you think, how much would you pay? How do I frame this correctly? Do you think that if, by the way, moving the story on, because Romero now is the target of Real Madrid, right? If Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid are going after it, how much do they pay for Romero?
60 mil. I don't think he'll join Real Madrid.
What's he going to join for?
I think he joins Atletico because, one, I'm a big believer of if the manager really wants you, and for some reason I just think it could be complete bollocks, but I think if they're also from the same country, do you think that adds an element of, like, there's Julian Alvarez there who's Argentine, there's Rodrigo de Paul there who's Argentine, Simeone's Argentine. You also add that. I think the way Simeone plays football with a low block, Romero's the sort of manager that will run for a wall for you if he believes in you. Whereas Real Madrid, the minute you fuck up,
he'll run for a wall because he's bored, mate.
the white handkerchiefs are out and they're on your case. Real Madrid, he won't get Real Madrid player. They don't really, under Carlo Ancelotti, they don't really have a play style. He just lifts his right eyebrow.
Who would you take from Atletico Madrid as a part makeway in the deal?
You know who the club will go for. 1,000,000% we know who we're going to go for.
Nico Williams.
No, Conor Gallagher.
Conor Gallagher's only wanted by Ange.
Yeah, but if we win the Europa League, mate, he's staying.
He ain't staying, mate.
I'll have a bet with you. We win the Europa, Ange will be manager next season.
How much?
100 quid.
Done.
Okay.
Oh, please don't say that. Did I just hear that? What's this?
There is absolutely no way Daniel Levy will sell. There is no way Daniel Levy will sack Ange Postecoglou if we win the Europa. No way. No.
I'll tell you what, if it happens,
football and he finally gets the duck.
Ten Hag will be Ten Hag revisited. We'll give this Muppet a huge budget. He'll go and buy some more Brennan Johnsons and some more Wilson Odebears, and we'll be sat there going, can't get nothing for them. And then he'll be gone by November.
Archer said, no, Ange's gone whether we win the Europa or not. Yeah, I agree. We all want him out. But how does Daniel Levy turn around and sack a manager who's brought Tottenham their first European trophy, hypothetically, in up to 45 years, right?
Johnny, have I just made the easiest 100 quid I've ever made in my life?
I think so, mate.
No chance. By the way, I'll bet
Lana's just bought herself another half an hour.
I'll bet is void. I bet is void if we don't win the Europa.
What?
Deal? If we don't win the Europa, our bet's void.
That's fine.
That's easy money.
The conditions are, if we win, I guess.
That's easiest money I've ever made. Because there's no way. How does he say, look, here you go, guys. There's a shiny trophy. We've got Champions League football.
Because there's a massive difference between being the best manager you've ever had and the most successful manager you've ever had. There's no way that Daniel Levy...
How does he turn around, Sean? You know he wants that Champions League revenue. You know he wants the extra £1 million a game, what it's going to generate, plus whatever the stadium's going to generate.
Because as the show started, when you were still losing your 10 kilogram dumbbell, when you were busy trying to figure out what you'd done with it, we were having a conversation around things like Ange Postecoglou's press conferences after his 20th loss of the season, where he turned around and tried to justify it to the journalist by saying, if you don't understand right by now that there's two things going on here, I can't help you, man. I can't help you.
Yeah,
If you think we can, if you honestly think,
You think we can compete on two fronts? You're the
compete
problem.
in this,
Essentially
if
what
you
he's
think
saying.
we can, I mean, if you think we
Yeah,
can
mate, he's
really,
going to be saying, "Well, guys, I told you I was winning."
Daniel Levy has to take that seriously, right? Even if Daniel Levy's like a donut, like you think he is, I think he's a smart guy. He might be a little bit
£3 million. Daniel Levy's sitting there watching that, going, "Oh, no one's buying much food today," and he just
By the
got
way, Johnny,
£1 million.
By the way, mate, there is still £12 million, more than that, £12.5 million of merit points up for grabs.
If we can win out the last
We
two
won
games,
our last few games. There were £12 million up for grabs. There's only 4 points between 17th and 15th, right? £12.5 million. And he treats a loss to Crystal Palace where we didn't even get out of first gear and they beat us.
Who did we lose to, Sean?
Second gear.
Who did we lose to?
Palace.
could have been a lot worse, couldn't it?
First time in our history they did a double over us.
Yeah, first time in 28 years they beat us.
Daniel Levy's sitting there going, wait a minute. Like, there's literally an article out. There's an article out right now from Football London. The £33.8 million loss Tottenham are set to make, and why Richalison was glaring at the dugout in the Palace loss. I haven't read the article because we've been going for 2 hours, and we probably need to finish off in a minute. But we got barely through any of the 50 articles I want to show you. But ultimately, like, we are losing money left and right because Ange Postecoglou thinks that the Premier League is not important and hasn't been since January. It's a fucking disgrace, bro. And so, and if Daniel Levy's listening to that and taking him at his word, then what he's saying is European football and Premier League cannot be co-symptomatic or whatever the phrase is, right? It's outrageous. Every other club can do it. Chelsea can do it, right? Newcastle can do it. Villa can do it, but Tottenham can't.
You don't see it well.
Either you're not good enough, or you're making excuses, or you're saying that the squad isn't good enough. The squad that you have rebuilt in your own fucking vision, Ange.
You don't see a world in which Tottenham win the Europa League, get Champions League football. Ange Postecoglou is the first manager in 17 years to bring trophy back. The first manager in 45 years, or whatever it is, to win a European trophy. You think he sacks him? What message would that send to the dressing room? Even if you win, guys,
I think half the squad will be happy, mate. I tell you what, I think half.
I disagree. I think you saw the way the players sat down and listened to him.
Explain to me why, boys. Explain to me why. I'm going. My toilet's just here. I'm going for a wee, but I think
you. The fact that there was a camera, right, in the dressing room conveniently after a win.
Oh,
you saw the way everyone sits down and listens to him.
Hang on, Henry. I said this the other day, right? Where was the camera in the 23 defeats? Now, Ange, what we're going to do, right? When we beat Bodo, because we know we're going to beat Bodo, we're going to put a camera in there, right? And we're going to film it. Okay. Right? I'm not interested in it. It's all stage managed. It's PR. Do you honestly see, if he wins this Champions League, do you see this squad being anywhere near good enough? He said he can't compete in Europa League and the Premier League. So what's he going to be like competing in the Champions League in the Premier League, right? This guy's not going to last. We can't keep him. He's not capable. He's not capable of doing both. You know, I've got nothing against him as an individual other than the fact that he's out of his depth. And they'd just admit it.
Yeah.
Would you want him there next season?
Oh, no chance. I would have sacked him in September.
Yeah.
I was one of the first people to come out and say, get rid of him. Absolutely get rid of him. You know? But for whatever reason, he's still here. Real Madrid have Dean Huijsen, William Saliba, and Konate on their shortlist for new centre-back. Dean Huijsen has Real Madrid are going after Huijsen.
Yeah.
I mean, how's that for? Comes to the Premier League for one season, playing at Bournemouth, go and sign probably a 5-year deal at Real Madrid, right? Go and win all those Champions Leagues. I tell you now, this might be a bit over the top what I'm about to say. And this probably is very over the top what I'm about to say. It would not surprise me if he wins a Ballon d'Or.
Huijsen.
Yeah.
It's very unusual for a centre-back to win. Look, the thing is, what you got to say is that
I think Van Dijk
might know this, but Iraola is heavily involved in the signing of Dean Huijsen and Kirkes. And what I would say is his talent ID, if you brought him to Spurs, that talent ID would have mean that Dean Huijsen was playing for Spurs and Kirkes would be playing for Spurs. And apparently...
Cliver, Evan Nilsson.
So,
even Sabarini.
I mean, he sold his so-called best player for 65 million and bought Kirkes, Huijsen and Evan Nilsson for the same money.
Just quickly, Huijsen wins the Ballon d'Or. Do you know how good he's going to be? Like, do you know he's going to be absolutely Real Madrid. When's the last player from fucking Bournemouth to go to Real Madrid? We're talking.
He ain't going to Real Madrid though.
Huh?
He's not going to Real Madrid. He's going to go to Liverpool.
No, Romero tweeted at 2:26. Real Madrid have identified Dean Huijsen, William Saliba, and Ibrahim Konate. Huijsen has a £50 million release clause, and is keen on joining Real Madrid, wanting for them to move to the club. Chelsea, Liverpool keep pushing. There is no way he is going to choose Chelsea or Liverpool over Real Madrid. He's Spanish. Well, that's up for debate. He thinks he's Spanish, right? Goes out there to Los Blancos.
Like Spanish, right?
Mate, Asensio alongside Dean Huijsen, Spain's back line for the next decade, Real Madrid's back line for the next decade. Then they get the money. They'll probably get 120 million quid for Rodrigo or 800 million quid. Like, yeah, I'm saying, you did Yamal retire from football? Look, Yamal's obviously going to win the Ballon d'Or in the next 5 years. What I said was it wouldn't surprise me if he did. Because he's got so much ability.
I know, but the centre-back... Can I just ask this question? I'm just going to pivot slightly. The breaking news from the Daily Mail. Ange Postecoglou has warned Spurs star Heung Min Son he will not allow his heart to rule his head ahead of the Europa League final. Do we really believe Ange, or will he still play him regardless of his fitness?
Great topic.
I think Son starts.
Regardless,
he better not. He better not.
Is this another Lucas Moura Harry Kane incident 2019? Is this revisited? Because this is what's seriously worrying me. That
You've got to look at it both ways, though.
Pardon?
If Son starts, scores the winner, Daniel Levy be sitting there going, right.
I know, but hang on, let's deal with reality. Hang on, let's deal with reality here, right? We saw him come on for like 25, 30 minutes and he had one touch. He broke down on the left-hand side and he seemed to need 2 weeks to decide whether to actually hit the ball, right? Where he should have struck the ball first time. And that was all he did the entire game. There's only Aston Villa now. Are we really saying that he can play 25 minutes, 30 minutes there?
He's got to play a full 90.
That's what I'm saying.
He's got to play. He's got to start.
Show what? That he's got something there?
Well, yeah, it's an easy decision for Ange, though, because if he starts and plays 90 minutes against Villa, and let's say we win 2-1 and he scores both goals, there is no way he's going to be out of the final 11.
And what happens if he starts
against Villa and stinks it up again? Ange's going to go, right, you're not ready for the final.
Mate, he's had the stinkiest of all stinky seasons, mate, let's be honest.
But I'm just worried. I'm worried. Personally, I want to see Cuti Romero lead that team out. Right, and
there's going to be about 12 water breaks during this game as well. It's going to be roasting out there.
Is it? I heard it wasn't that hot before.
No, I'm probably talking bollocks again then.
It was raining. I looked the other day. It was raining.
It's roasting here at the moment. It's 22. Well, 21 and a half. We'll call it 22 because it sounds better.
My dad's out in Spain. My dad's he went, oh, bollocks, I've had a tough year. I'm going to go out to Spain with his missus. And he phones me up. He goes, so what's the weather like at home? I was like, it's been roasting for the last week. He goes, I was like, what's it like out there? Is it hot? And he goes, no, it's been pissing with rain.
18 degrees. 19 degrees with light rain, but ignore the rain. It's 19 degrees. It's still going to be hot.
It's 18 degrees and raining. 18 degrees and raining.
Oh, yeah, shit. Yeah, it's 9 p.m., isn't it? It's like, oh, mate, that I'll tell you what, that atmosphere in Bilbao, if we win it, is going to be, mate.
Mate, you paying yourself a ticket yet?
The cheapest I've been quoting is like $2,000 at the moment.
There was a couple of tickets going around on Twitter last night. Some geezer, his brother won 2 tickets in the UEFA ballot, and he couldn't go. So he applied, and he's like, I'm willing to listen to offers. And last night, Emerson Royal reached out and said, his mate knows a guy. And I was like, your mate knows a guy. He's just a guy on Twitter. And apparently the last bid was 900 quid each for the pair. So 1,800 quid.
Shall I give you the weather forecast then, guys? I'll give you the...
Actually, round it up though, Johnny, because it sounds better.
Right, okay. Okay, so I'm going out on Sunday. It's 27 degrees. Beautiful.
You're going out on Sunday?
Yeah, I've got to warm up, ground, research.
Mate, let me ask this, Johnny. Johnny.
The game's until Wednesday.
Johnny, last Thursday, you had no time to avoid, escape, or sidetrack away from the booze. You were drinking Stellas with me and Henry at fucking 4:00 in the morning. At what point during that trip are you going to either A, expose me to your family, or B, leave your family to expose yourself to me and Henry?
I'm sure we'll meet up. But I'm going on the Sunday. It's 27 degrees and sunny. Monday, 27 degrees and a 50% chance of rain. And then wait for it. It all goes Pete Tong, right? 20 degrees on Tuesday, 65% chance of rain.
No, ignore that. You got round it down.
18 degrees, and 65% chance of rain on Wednesday. It's pissing down.
Yeah. So for the second I arrive, I'm bringing the rain on the Spain. The rain on the plane happens mostly on the Spain.
The rain in Spain stays mainly on the plane.
I see why others calling Emery Talks Bollocks. He's full of opinions. Head shaking. He reminds me of Eddie Hearn. Just packaged in a post delivery. Yeah. Nothing wrong with that, mate. Eddie Hearn's a multi-millionaire, mate.
Yeah. I'll tell you.
Quotes that he wants 7 million.
Yeah, but I mean, I want an 11-inch penis. It's not going to happen. When you start hearing people like that say things like that, that gives me a fucking hard-on.
He's fucking. I tell you now, Eddie Hearn is a Twitter account and an Instagram account called No Context Eddie Hearn, and he's apps. There's a video of him in Barcelona, and someone's wearing a headband, and it's like, he goes, "You there with a headband? You are different gravy." And the caption's like, "When I see Ronaldinho on a football pitch." Like, he's absolutely elite, Eddie Hearn.
He's a good boy. But he's a Tottenham fan as well, isn't he?
Yeah, his dad was owner of Lake Norrin, wasn't he?
Yeah.
They're now into all the darts.
So we still don't know though, Johnny, whether or not our boy.
I'm gonna contact Lily White Rose right now. I'm gonna contact him now.
What are you contacting him about?
Call him on Twitter. We have to ask the question, because no one in the Tottenham chat knows the answer. That if Leyton Orient lose to Stockport on Wednesday, tomorrow, can Keeley and or Jamie Donnelly join up with the squad?
Mate, that's going to be if Jamie Donnelly.
Imagine
no context, right?
Imagine if Jamie Donnelly, because Decky's injured, Maddison's
injured. This is what I've asked. I've been trying to get someone to get me a.
Mate, no context, right? 1,000,000%. We'll get it going. I've got some good analogy. He's not quite Eddie Hearn's level, but. What was the one I said earlier? Suck a golf ball for a hose pipe.
You got one back? You got a message back already?
No, I'm just messaging now.
Not before the 1st of June, Steve is saying. You answered us yesterday. Okay, go on, Terry. Answer it again. I didn't see you.
All right. Okay. Sorry, mate. Go on. Not until the 1st of June. Because all I know is that he doesn't need to be registered for UEFA because he's a Tottenham registered player, right? And he's a youth player, and he will be finished with Orient on Wednesday should they lose.
Yeah, I think it makes sense.
Just to ask.
These guys, Sean, you're going to go searching for Marmy in Bilbao. Not sure what Marmy means, but probably. The answer is probably. I think probably the answer is probably. If it isn't written into the loan deal, you can't. But the season's over. The season's over for their loan deal. So he comes back, and then he hasn't played for two. You can play for two teams in a season. So in a hype, you're wrong about that because the season will be over. Well, you're right, but the loan deal will be done. Season's over. He thinks the deal runs until the end of the Prem season, says RM. He already answered it last week in a hype. Yeah, but the loan deal's done, mate. As soon as the season's, if they beat Stockport, then I agree with you. But if they don't, I don't know what his season's done. He can play the last Premier League game, says Ed M. The B list is what's the B list, Johnny?
I need to ask. I've asked him. I meant to send it. I thought I'd sent it before. I obviously deleted it. But look, for me, Jamie Donnelly could play as a 10. No two ways about it.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. What did we get to? We've done the last story. What's this one? David Ornstein saying that Tottenham are going to get rid of Ange. So that's the easiest £100 I've ever made. Tottenham place a bid on. Hang on.
Not Carlos kick a ball again.
The boy Hotspur, that geezer. Fucking hell, he's negative. He understands that Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, and Arsenal are also in the race for Hoyson. I don't know why we're referencing.
Oh, we could be. Listen,
Hotspur's his own content. I don't know.
Listen, let me tell you something. Look, if they wanted Cuti Romero now, then we could use that money to buy Hoyson. Would you buy Hoyson or Gay, Henry? Difficult question. Not really, is it? Come on.
No, Hoyson. But I've got to jump because the food shopping's here. But I'm taking Hoyson, mate. I'd stick a tin of beans up my backside for Dean Hoyson.
You did that in Bodo, mate.
On that bombshell, I've got to jump because the Tesco man's here.
Did you take the can of beans out and shoved up?
Hopefully he's got Dean Hoyson in his shopping.
What's coming up on your channel?
Listen, we've got a couple of transfer videos coming up today and tomorrow. Now that Romano, mate, if he had me on, speed dial, now that
Henry Romano,
yeah, mate, you might as well call me Fabrizio Wright.
Henrino Romano.
Already got the title, already got the thumbnail. The boy Hotspur is the biggest wrong in the Spurs community. You're taking Mark Gahey over Dean Hoyson. I love Gahey, but Dean Hoyson, listen, he could run through the snow and wouldn't leave footsteps.
On another level.
That's how fucking class he is.
He's hot sauce.
Honestly, he could fucking Cruyff turn it, take it down. The thing about Hoyson is there's very few centre backs. Maybe Christian Romero is another one that composed on the ball, passing out from the back. But yeah, I got to shoot. So I'll see you soon.
See you, mate. Appreciate you, buddy. Take care.
Jordy, I'm going to have to go soon, mate.
We're running off in 2 minutes. Was one other story. James McAtee from Manchester City. Tottenham have been given the green light to sign the man. Look, for me, he's just like Harry Winks. Not interested. Are we interested in James McAtee?
Look, Man City, you look at the players they've sold. Liam Delap, Morgan Rogers, Diaz, what's his name? Who went out to, to Juventus, the 6-8. He was at, who else? There's a whole host of players that they've sold that have gone on to be very, very successful. So I'm not going to write them off.
James McAtee ain't good enough, mate.
No, I mean, it wouldn't be my bag. Spurs probably looking at, buying a whole bunch of more kids.
He's not good enough. Not good enough for Tottenham. No interest. Johnny, what's coming up in your life, mate, on the spectrum?
Not much, mate. I'm just rejoicing. I've got my tickets. I'll start packing my castanets for the weekend, and Are you going to bring home like a salami or something? Are you going to get like a big some sort of fucking giant Spanish sausage to come back? I'm going to bring back one of them balls. One of those plastic balls. With a couple of prongs in it. Stick on the mantelpiece. And one of them hats. Got to wear them. How many Spurs fans will wear one of them bullfighter hats? because
I am 100% going to be photographed and videoed for most of the week, like either chasing a ball or a ball chasing me, or so either way, there's going to be horns. There's going to be horns involved.
It's because there is a bullfighting ring in Bilbao.
Is there?
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing Tuesday night. Second I arrive, I'm going to go and see a ball, and I'm rooting for the ball. By the way, I'm rooting for the ball. No, I'm always rooting for the ball. You know. Guys, I want to say massive thank you to everyone who's joined. It's been 2.25 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes, long one today. Got out of control as always. Johnny, what's coming up on? Plug your channels.
I'll probably be on Dave's tomorrow at 6 o'clock, Irish Hotspur, but we'll be doing something on football stink, and we need to start getting this going because there's so much football to be talking about. You know, and so many transfers, and that's where we need to be at. We need to get it going, mate. All right, buddy. Thanks for everyone for listening to us for 2 hours and 20 minutes. If you managed to stay that long, you got some serious staying power listening to us too. But thank you very much.
Thank you very much for the super chats. Thank you very much for the Graham Rue for the new member. Thank you very much to you, Blaine. Thank you very much to everyone stopping by. Like, subscribe, and comment. Get over to Johnny on his Twitter and his socials. Get over to Henry Talks AbsoluteWaffle.com, and you will see me on another one maybe later on tonight. Maybe if I got the stamina, I'll come back out and do some more for you. But like, subscribe,
I was going to say, if you're on TikTok, it's if you're on TikTok, it's Talking Tottenham 1882. Just started that one. That one sort of just got going. So if you're on it, just flip over there. But listen, Sean, it's been a pleasure again. Henry, he's probably lost his shopping. Now he's only
that's his missus going, where's the butter?
Where's the butter? I think I put it on the couch. Anyway, I'll see you later, mate.
Ciao, guys. Take care. See you later. Thanks, everyone. Like, subscribe, and comment. And as always,
come on, you Spurs.